Ziqing rubbed her sore shoulders and dragged her tired body up from the small rental house. Outside the window is the neon-lit city night scene, with high-rise buildings like ruthless monsters, devouring every office worker who works overtime until late at night. She glanced at her phone, and the bank balance showed on the screen, only 300 yuan left. Rent, water and electricity, daily expenses, these figures were like invisible shackles, weighing her down. At the age of 25, she should be at the age to pursue her dreams, but instead she works as a clerk in this small company, typing on the computer every day. Dream? That's just a distant luxury. Hey, it's another day like this. Ziqing murmured to herself, took off her high heels, and slumped down on the rickety old sofa. The air was filled with the greasy smell of takeout boxes, and the coffee machine in the corner made a low hum, but could not be lit. She tried pressing the switch a few times, but there was no response. Damn it, it's broken again. What should I do tomorrow morning? She sighed, and the stern face of her boss appeared in her mind. If you are late once, your salary will be deducted. Life is like a pool of stagnant water, calm but suffocating. In order to escape all this, she put on the cheap VR helmet and logged into Fantasy World. This virtual reality game is the darling of near-future technology. Hundreds of millions of players around the world are immersed in it and experience endless adventures. For Ziqing, it is the only safe haven, no need to face the reality of poverty, no need to listen to the gossip of colleagues. She closed her eyes, and her consciousness was instantly drawn into the gorgeous virtual world. A brisk wind blew by, and the green grass in the novice area spread out like emeralds. The sun shines on the leaves, reflecting colorful spots, and the air is filled with the fragrance of wild flowers. Ziqing's game character is a simple novice mage, wearing a shabby gray robe and holding a crooked wooden staff in his hand. She took a deep breath and felt the tightness in her chest finally loosen up. This is my world. She thought to herself, taking steps towards the edge of the forest. The novice zone is supposed to be safe, full of low-level monsters and simple tasks. But today, everything was wrong. When she picked up a bunch of glowing herbs, the screen suddenly flickered, as if something was disturbing it. The system prompts intermittently, warning, abnormal event, skill book dropped. Ziqing was stunned. A translucent book appeared out of thin air in front of her eyes, with the words, Fireball Technique, engraved on the cover. This is a basic skill book, which usually requires quests or gold coins to purchase. How could it be dropped directly? She clicked to pick it up curiously, and the book turned into a red light and merged into her character panel. There is a new skill on the panel, Fireball, Level 1. But just then, the helmet sounded a piercing alarm, and the vision distorted into a chaotic mess of pixels. Ziqing felt dizzy and forced to quit the game. When she took off her helmet, her palms were covered in cold sweat. The lights in the rental house were dim, and she rubbed her temples, trying to calm her heartbeat. The coffee machine was still standing dully in the corner, like a disobedient pet. Suddenly, the icon of the skill book flashed in her mind, as if it had not disappeared, but was stuck in her consciousness. Isn't this impossible? Ziqing murmured, doubtfully reaching out and gesturing at the coffee machine. Think silently in your mind, Fireball. A ball of orange-red flames burst out from her fingertips, small but hot, and instantly ignited the coffee machine's power cord. There was a soft pop, the machine hummed, the lights came on, and the hot water began to boil. The aroma of coffee filled the air, mixed with a faint burnt smell, and warmed the entire room. Ziqing's eyes widened and she stared at her hand, her ordinary palm, which was clearly on fire just now. She flicked her fingers tentatively, and there was another small cluster of sparks, which were warm but did not burn her skin. Oh my God, is this, really? Her heartbeat accelerated, as if she was being injected with an electric current. Ever since she was a child, she has always been the kind of weak girl who was bullied by life. She couldn't even say harsh words when arguing about overtime pay from her boss. But now, this power, it was like a lamp, illuminating the gloom in her heart. Poverty? Powerless? Maybe, From now on, everything can change. She clenched her fists and raised the corners of her mouth involuntarily. Joy came like a tide, not blind excitement, but the hope of breaking free from despair. She was no longer a victim, she could take the initiative to seize the opportunity. Before the excitement was over, Ziqing put on her helmet again and logged into Fantasy World again. This time, she couldn't wait to try out her skills. At the edge of the forest in the novice area, a low-level goblin monster was swinging its green-skinned body towards it, wielding a rusty dagger. Ziqing instinctively retreated, but the hot feeling in her mind made her stand firm. "Come on!" She shouted lowly, pointed forward with her cane, and a fist-sized fireball roared out and hit the goblin's chest. The monster let out a shrill scream, its skin was charred, and it fell to the ground. System prompt: defeat the low-level goblin and obtain 10 gold coins. The jingle of gold coins rang in my ears, Ziqing's character panel lit up, and her experience points slowly increased. She gasped and looked at the pile of scattered copper coins, feeling like a little hero. From weak chicken to little expert, this transformation is too fast. The surrounding grass rustled, other players cast surprised glances, and some even whistled. "Young girl, you are so awesome. Are you so skilled in the fireball technique?" At this moment, a tall warrior player ran over, wearing shining armor and a sunny and handsome face exposed under his helmet. "Hey, beauty! You looked so handsome just now. I'm Sun Yu, a regular visitor to the novice area. Doesn't your fireball technique look like a novice's level?" Sun Yu smiled and stretched out his hand, speaking enthusiastically, like a big boy sharing a toy. Ziqing smiled slightly and held his hand. The touch in the game was simulated so realistically that she felt the roughness of his palm. "My name is Ziqing. I was lucky enough to pick up a skill book just now." "Thanks, your equipment looks pretty cool." Sun Yu laughed loudly and patted his chest. "What the hell, I'm an old player. There have been a lot of weird things in this game recently. I heard there are bugs and skill books are dropped randomly. By the way, you know what? The outside world is in chaos. The news is that elements of Fantasy World have begun to invade reality. Some people are using the swords in the game to kill people on the street, and the government has been dispatched. Players around the world are spreading the news, saying that this is a major system update, or is it some kind of conspiracy? Anyway, rare resources are now extremely popular, and the auction house is full every day." Ziqing's heart was shaken, and the flames of the coffee machine flashed in her mind. The invasion of reality turned out not to be her hallucination. Sun Yu's words were like a heavy hammer, shattering her understanding of the world. The boundaries between virtuality and reality are blurring, and there are opportunities hidden in the chaos. "Really? Then we have to be careful," she said, with a hint of firmness in her voice. Sun Yu nodded, his eyes bright. "Yes. Add a friend. I have inside information and can help you grab some good things. Like the fireball technique, it is very practical after upgrade. Come on, let's brush monsters together." Ziqing hesitated for half a second and clicked on the friend request. Sun Yu's ID, hot-blooded god of war, jumped into her list, and she felt a warm current. She seemed to have company in her lonely days. "Okay, let's go together. Tell me, how do you compete for rare skill books in the game?" Sun Yu said as he walked and took her deep into the forest. "It's simple, bid in the auction house. But now there are many bugs, the drop rate is high, and the guilds are fighting each other. Especially the female guild leader Meng Yao, she is very ambitious and specializes in sniping newcomers. Hee, but as long as I am here, we can definitely get good stuff if we work together." The two fought side by side, with Sun Yu's sword flashing and Ziqing's fireball roaring. After defeating a wave of mobs, they gained dozens more gold coins. Ziqing looked at the numbers on the panel, and the confusion in her heart gradually subsided. Power doesn't fall from the sky, it's something she can grasp. She decided that from now on, using this golden finger, she would fight for those rare resources and counterattack this chaotic world. Deep in the forest, the roar of a stronger monster could be heard faintly. The road ahead was full of unknowns, but she was no longer afraid. The shadows in the forest gradually became thinner, and the sunlight shone like golden threads. Sun Yu's sword blade drew a streak of silver light on the last wild wolf, blood spattered, and the wet smell mixed with earth assaulted his nostrils. Ziqing gasped and took back her cane. The remaining warmth of the fireball was still moving on her fingertips. She looked at the extra 200 gold coins on the panel and felt an unprecedented sense of accomplishment in her heart. In the past, she was always afraid of killing monsters in the novice area, afraid of crashing and wasting time. But now, every kill is like proving herself, she is no longer the girl hiding in the shadow of reality. Excellent. Ziqing, your fireball technique is simply a work of art. Sun Yu wiped the virtual sweat from his forehead, turned around and grinned at her. His voice sounds particularly loud in the game, like a street vendor shouting hot dogs. One more round of swiping, and you can collect the teleportation fee to the main city. I heard that the auction house has a big sale today, and rare skill books are flying everywhere. Ziqing nodded and followed him briskly. The road signs at the edge of the forest flashed blue, pointing in the direction of the main city. The air was filled with the freshness of pine needles, mixed with the rumble of carriages in the distance. She thought to herself that this game was supposed to be an escape, but now, it had become her weapon. Sun Yu chatted while walking, sharing game gossip. Did you know? Since the bug broke out, players in the real world have started to use skills to cause chaos. Last night, the news said that someone used invisibility to steal the bank, and the police went crazy. The government wanted to shut down the server, but the players refused, saying that this is the beginning of a new era. Ha, we small retail investors must seize the opportunity. The ripples of the portal flashed, and the two people instantly appeared in the main city square. The noise is coming, crowds of people are surging on the stone road, and vendors are shouting one after another, high-quality potion. A bottle of 50 gold. The aroma of barbecue and the smell of charcoal from the blacksmith shop float in the air, and the NPC guards patrolling the towering city walls are holding long guns and looking like eagles. Ziqing blinked, adapting to the bustling scene. She had been to the main city before, but she always passed by in a hurry and never dared to enter the auction house. That place was a playground for rich people, and novices like her could not even touch the threshold. Let's go, the auction house is on East Street. Sun Yu pulled her and squeezed into the crowd. His armor jingled, attracting several passers-by's glances. The auction house hall is as grand as a palace, with crystal chandeliers shining brightly and real-time bidding lists projected on the walls. The air is cool, with a faint fragrance of ink, like a library of ancient books. Ziqing took a deep breath and stared at the giant screen in the center. A pile of skill books, equipment and potions were scrolling. Among them, a book with a blue cover jumped into view. Wind Step, rare, mobile skill, increases speed by 50%, lasts for 10 seconds. Starting price, 500 gold. Time remaining, 15 minutes. Wind Step. This is a hot item. Sun Yu whispered, his eyes lit up. He pulled Ziqing to find a seat in a corner, and the funds interface popped up on the panel. I have 300 gold, what about you? Let's put our money together and we can get a middle price. Ziqing checked her wallet, 250 gold obtained from slaying monsters, plus sporadic rewards after transforming the fireball spell, a total of 320 gold. The total is 620, which is barely enough. But she knew that this book would not be easy to get. Sun Yu, tell me more. Why is this skill so popular? Also, that guild leader Meng Yao, why do you say she is so ambitious? Sun Yu came closer and lowered his voice, as if he was sharing street secrets. The wind walk is not only about running fast in the game. After being transformed into reality, it allows you to dodge danger and chase enemies. It is a magical survival skill. After the bug invasion, it can be used in real-life traffic and chase battles. Where is Meng Yao? She is the leader of the Phantom Guild. Sun, in his early 20s, looks pretty and plays games like fighting. The guild specializes in hoarding rare resources and selling them to real rich people in exchange for money. I heard that she is eyeing Wind's Step and wants to use it to form an elite team to grab more treasures dropped by bugs. Retail investors like us would be in trouble if they encountered her. She had insider information and could raise prices in advance. Ziqing's heartbeat accelerated, and the bidding on the screen had reached 450 gold. A few small players are trying to raise prices, but they are obviously cannon fodder. Realistic traffic jams, crowded subways, and nightmares that made her late flashed through her mind. If she had Wind's Step, she could change everything. From being passively beaten to taking the initiative, this is her growth path. Sun Yu, let's go. Increase it to 600 first, hold on. Sun Yu nodded and quickly operated the panel, okay. After adding friends, we will bid together to prevent her from finding out that it is a newbie joining forces. His fingers were flying and the screen flashed, 600 gold. There was buzzing discussion in the hall, and someone whistled, who is so fierce? Retail investors are counterattacking? Ziqing stared at the list closely, beads of sweat sliding down her virtual forehead. The air was filled with the smell of nervous electricity, like the eve of a storm. Suddenly, an ID, Phantom Queen, popped up and the price was increased to 700. Meng Yao. Sun Yu cursed, damn it, she's here. The guild has money, we have to fight wisely. Ziqing's intuition came to her mind. She had observed the price increase pattern several times, and Meng Yao always made the final decision at the last moment, but newcomers were often scared away. She gritted her teeth, add it to 750. Don't hesitate. Sun Yu was stunned for a moment, but followed immediately. 750 gold. The hall was boiling. Several small competitors, a guy named Rookie Man, and 2 retail investors, tried to follow up, but they did not have enough funds and quit in despair. Ziqing felt the thrill of a battle of wits, like winning a game of chess. Her heart was churning. In the past, she was afraid of negotiating prices to buy groceries, but now, she is controlling the situation. There were 3 minutes left on the screen, and Meng Yao increased it to 800. Sun Yu was anxious. Ziqing, we only have a total of 870 left. If she adds more, it will be GG. Trust me. Ziqing whispered, eyes fixed on the numbers. Her intuition told her that Meng Yao was testing the situation. Although the guild had a lot of funds, she would not sell it for a middle-grade book. After 1 minute of countdown, she decisively increased the price, 850. The hall fell silent, leaving only the buzzing of the crystal lamps and the rapid breathing of everyone. Meng Yao's ID flashed and she hesitated for 10 seconds, then the system bell rang, the bidding is over. The Wind Steps are owned by Clear Skies. Win. Sun Yu jumped up, hugged Ziqing and spun around, and the cheers in the game were like a flood. Ziqing laughed out loud, blood boiling in her chest. This is not luck, it is her first victory, outsmarting a small competitor and reversing Meng Yao's oppression. She clicked to buy, blue light flooded into the panel, and the skill book turned into a whirlpool of style, blending into her character. When she exited the game, she felt a lightness in her legs, as if they were being lifted up by an invisible wind. In reality, Ziqing took off her helmet and the clock in the rental house ticked. It was already 6:30 in the morning. She glanced out the window, the neon lights receded, replaced by gray fog, and the streets were busy and congested as usual. The alarm clock rings and work time is approaching. She grabbed her bag and rushed out the door. When the elevator door closed, she silently said to herself, Wind Step. With one step, the world blurred. The wind whistled past her ears, and her figure flashed past the stairs and through the alley like a ghost. The touch is magical, the air slides over the skin like silk, the ground is as light as a spring. The usual hell of a traffic jam, red lights, blaring horns, choking exhaust fumes, had now become her playground. She sidled aside to avoid a taxi that was braking suddenly, and without stopping, she crossed the intersection in a few seconds. Passers-by stared wide-eyed, thinking they saw a phantom. That girl flew away. With the company building in sight, Ziqing stopped and panted. The alarm clock showed 7:59, she pushed open the glass door and clocked in on time. Before her boss's stern face could frown, she was already sitting at her workstation and typing on the keyboard. Colleague Shaoli came over and smelled the smell of dust on her body. Ziqing, why aren't you late? The subway is broken today and there's a huge traffic jam. Ziqing smiled, feeling as satisfied as honey in her heart. Good luck, I came here by running. Crisis turned into advantage, it felt so good. From a weakling to a hunter, she began to plan her next target, attack skills. Sun Yu was a good partner, so she had to recruit him. Team friendship is her backing in this chaotic world. In the game, Sun Yu's message popped up, Bull. I got the wind step, and we're aiming for the thunder chain in the next book. Meng Yao, I heard that she mentioned you on the guild channel, saying that a newcomer stole her limelight. Hee, she has noticed you, be careful. Ziqing tapped her fingers on the keyboard and replied, Come here, I'm not afraid. In the distance, the Phantom Guild's fortress was brightly lit. Meng Yao stared at the bidding record, frowning slightly, a clear sky. Interesting, this little bug must be crushed to death. Ziqing closed the panel and looked at the tall buildings outside the window. The wind was still whispering between her legs, and the road ahead was turbulent, but she was ready to chase. At Ziqing's workstation, the sound of keyboard typing was as intensive as raindrops, and her slightly tired but determined eyes were reflected on the screen. The morning meeting had just ended, and the greasy face of her boss, Lao Wang, was still lingering in his mind. He always liked to complain loudly in the tea room that young people are too lazy, and then dumped overtime tasks on low-level employees like her. Today, he named her again and asked her to redo a boring report. It was clear that she stayed up late last night to complete the version, but he only glanced at it and said, There is a problem with the logic. Ziqing bit her lip and didn't say anything back. She just silently opened the folder. The air was filled with the smell of printer's hot ink. Her colleagues were busy with their heads down, and occasionally the sound of the coffee machine could be heard, as if mocking her for holding back. Ziqing, please revise this report and give it to me before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Lao Wang dropped these words as he passed by, with his usual condescension in his voice. He stopped, glanced at her screen, and curled his lips. Oh, it's still the same, inefficient. Do you think it's okay to be late once? I will deduct your perfect attendance award next time. His tone was like a street vendor trying to lower the price, mixed with a bit of joking. Colleagues around her peeked over, and someone murmured in a low voice. Ziqing felt her cheeks feel hot, and the grievances in her heart surged up like a tide. In the past, she always lowered her head to admit her mistakes, fearing that she would lose her job and that her life would become even poorer. But now, her fingers were trembling slightly, not with fear, but with faint anger. Win's step allowed her to see the possibility of change, but what about defense? She needs more. When the lunch break came, Ziqing put on the VR helmet and her consciousness instantly sank into fantasy world. The hustle and bustle of the main city square receded like a tide, and she appeared at the entrance to the instance, the edge of the shadow forest. The shadows of the trees were whirling, the mist was shrouded, and the air was filled with the smell of moist moss and the faint scent of animals. Sun Yu was already waiting, his warrior tall and sword still stained with fresh green blood. Here we come. Ziqing, you'll be clearing the Shadow Wolf King mid-level boss today. You'll get rich experience drops, and you might unlock a skill slot. Your wind step will come in handy. Ziqing nodded and activated the skill. A gust of wind surged from the soles of her feet, and her body was as light as a willow leaf. She explored the path ahead, and her swift steps allowed her to slip through the low thorn bushes. Her footsteps were silent, and the wind whispered in her ears, like an old friend whispering in her ears. Sun Yu followed behind, his iron boots trampling on the fallen leaves, making a crisp sound. Be careful, the shadow wolves will outflank you. The boss has poisonous claws and is dangerous at close range. My main tank, you take damage. The interior of the copy is dark and damp, the walls are covered with vines like living things, and the tentacles are cold. When the shadow wolves pounced, their gray-black figures were like ghosts, and the hissing sound of their claws slicing through the air was heart-stopping. Ziqing's figure flashed, and she was taken around to the flank with a galloping step. She fired a series of fireballs, 3 balls of orange flames fell like meteors, and the wolves fell to the ground howling. Sun Yu laughed. Well done. Your speed is just like an assassin in the game. He swung his sword to block a fish that slipped through the net. The sword light flashed, blood mist spattered, and the fishy smell hit his nostrils. Going deep into the boss room, the Shadow Wolf King appears roaring, a giant beast with hair like steel needles and eyes as red as the blood moon. It pounced, its poisonous claws tearing the ground apart and stone fragments flying. Sun Yu stepped onto the front line, blocking with her shield, making a muffled sound of metal collision. Ziqing, side output. Ziqing activated wind step, the wind carried her in a circle, and fireballs poured down like rain. The king's roar was deafening, the poisonous mist filled the air, and the sting that burned her skin made her frown. But she gritted her teeth and persisted, and her inner monologue was like lightning, I can't retreat. This is my battlefield. From weak to strong, I have to take every step by myself. Sun Yu was knocked away by the claws, and his HP dropped to the red line. He gasped, hold on, I'll recover my health. Ziqing's heart tightened, and she opened her wind step at full speed, dodged to the boss's blind spot, and hit the weak spot with a heavy fireball. The giant beast wailed, collapsed and fell to the ground, and the system flourished, experience plus 5,000, upgrade. Skill slot expansion unlocked, currently 3 slots. Ziqing's panel lit up, and she felt power pouring in like a river, and her virtual body became lighter. Sun Yu, we won. She helped him up, the two high-fived, and the laughter echoed in the cave. After exiting the dungeon, Sun Yu wiped his sweat and said, it's great. You have enough experience to level up 2 levels. Next, go to the auction house to grab the Iron Wall Shield. It is a magical defensive skill. After it is transformed into reality, it can block physical attacks without pressure. I have 800 gold to support you. Ziqing's eyes lit up, okay, the Iron Wall Shield will just make up for my shortcomings. The auction house hall was still lively, with shadows of people under the crystal lamps, and the bidding screen scrolling like a stock market. The Iron Wall Shield skill book is now available, gray cover, starting bid of 300 gold, 20 minutes remaining. Ziqing and Sun Yu squeezed into the front row. The scent of ink mixed with the smell of sweat filled the air, and they were as nervous as a bowstring. The individual players were talking a lot, this book is so popular that the Phantom Guild is eyeing it, but individual players can also compete. The bidding started smoothly, and when it reached 500 gold, an ID, Tekken Sanren, jumped out and increased it to 600. Sun Yu whispered, this guy is an old bird, specializing in hoarding defense books and selling them for money. Let's follow. Ziqing nodded, and the operation panel said, 650. The Iron Fist Sanren immediately counterattacked, 700. Sun Yu pooled his money to increase the bet, I'll pay 400, you pay 350, the total is 1050. The hall was buzzing, and someone shouted, newcomers joining forces? You have the guts. Ziqing's heart beat like a drum, and she stared at the screen, her palms slightly wet. Iron Fist Sanren hesitated, increased it to 900, and then tested 950. Ziqing took a deep breath and recalled her persistence in the boss battle, added to 1100. Sun Yu's funds were transferred in instantly, the screen flickered, and Sanren cursed and quit. System bell rings, deal. Blue light poured in, and the Iron Wall Shield merged into the panel. Ziqing quit the game. In reality, she felt her arms sink, as if she had an extra layer of invisible armor. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Lao Wang came again, and this time it was even more extreme, he threw a stack of documents onto her desk with his hand. The papers scattered, and the edges rubbed against the back of her hand, making it red and swollen. Idiot, such a simple report is wrong. Half your monthly salary will be deducted. His voice was thunderous. His colleagues lowered their heads and pretended to be busy. Ziqing could shrink back, but she felt angry inside. That's enough. She stood up and silently recited the iron wall shield. A gray light flashed through, and an invisible barrier rose like a steel wall. Before Lao Wang's hand could be retracted, it was bounced away. He staggered back, eyes widened. What are you doing? Ziqing touched the back of her hand, and the redness and swelling were fading. She looked directly at him. Manager Wang, I have corrected the report, please check it. Her voice was calm, but with unprecedented confidence. Lao Wang rubbed his hands and coughed in embarrassment. Forget it, be careful next time. He walked away dejectedly, and there was faint discussion in the tea room. What happened to Ziqing today? Lao Wang is exhausted. Ziqing sat down, feeling as confident as a volcano erupting. In the past, she was a sandbag who could be bullied. Now, this shield not only blocked attacks, but also blocked fear. The strength allowed her to straighten her back. This is not revenge, it is growth, the first step in getting rid of the shackles. In the evening, Ziqing returned to the game, and Sun Yu pulled her into the team copy. Have you got the iron wall shield? Come and try it. This time, we will clear the Stone Demon Castle, with a team of individual players, and we will be the backers. In the Stone Demon Castle, there was a constant sound of rocks breaking, and the air was as hot as a furnace. The team consists of 5 people, 2 casual DPS, a wet nurse, Sun Yu, and her. The boss Stone Demon King smashed his giant fist, the ground shook, scattered people were knocked away, and the battle collapsed. The wet nurse screamed, I can't stand it anymore. Ziqing activated the iron wall shield, and the gray light spread out like a city wall. She rushed forward to block the blow. The wind from her fist brushed past her, and it felt like a hammer strike without causing any damage. Sun Yu, output. Sun Yu's sword was like a dragon, piercing the weak point. Ziqing's shield is as stable as a mountain, blocking continuous attacks. The team's HP is stable and counterattacks are overwhelming. The boss collapses, the experience skyrockets, and the system prompts, team victory, reputation plus 100. The Sanren leader sent a message, Sister, you shield cow. Join our guild. The Iron Blood Alliance has great benefits. Ziqing shook her head, determined, thank you, but I'm used to being independent. A team is good, but I want to go on my own. Sun Yu patted her on the shoulder, my opponent. It's fun to be a lone ranger. After rejecting the offer, she felt relaxed. A guild is a shortcut, but growth requires independence, and this is her path. We are celebrating, system alarm, PK mode activated. 3 players surrounded him, their IDs were prefixed with Phantom. The leading assassin smiled sinisterly, Sister Mengyao's order, newcomer, hand over your skill book. They are testers, Mengyao's minions. Ziqing's heart trembled, she dodged the dagger with a gale step, blocked the mage's fireball with the iron wall shield, and Sun Yu killed 1 person with his sword. The battle was fierce, the square's flagstones shattered, and passers-by screamed and dispersed. Ziqing's fireball counterattacked and drove away the assassin, but the mage's ice arrow scratched her arm, which was as painful as a needle prick. She gritted her teeth, Sun Yu, retreat. Swift Wind's step led Sun Yu out of the siege and narrowly escaped, leaving the other party to curse. Panting in the safe area, Sun Yu wiped his sweat, this woman Mengyao moves so fast. Her guild is hoarding bug resources and wants to monopolize reality transformation. Ziqing looked at the night sky, the stars in the game were like the neon lights of reality, and there was a twist in his heart, power starts from survival, but it goes beyond that. It gave me freedom, to get rid of the shackles of the workplace and pursue real life. From being a weakling to this step, I see endless possibilities. Sun Yu, we have to plan for the future. The bug invasion will intensify, and reality will be chaotic. Form a team, don't rely on guilds, grab rare books, and build your own power. Monsters have already appeared in the city. The news last night said that goblins appeared on the streets of Shanghai, and the police couldn't kill them with guns. We have to prepare to fight against this chaos. Sun Yu's eyes lit up. What a good idea. Next target, the Thunder Chain Attack Book. Pay money first to avoid Mengyao's eyeliner. The two walked side by side towards the city gate, the wind carrying the roar of distant monsters. In reality, Ziqing took off her helmet. The night was dark outside the window, and there were faint green shadows flashing between the tall buildings, like goblins peeping in the game. Chaos came, but she was no longer afraid. The seeds of freedom took root in her heart. When Ziqing opened the company door, it was already dark. Neon lights wrap around high-rise buildings like ribbons, traffic flows on the street like dormant pythons, horns sound mixed with complaints from pedestrians, and the air is filled with the smell of exhaust fumes and street barbecue smoke. Sun Yu's message was still echoing in her mind: Thunder Chain, a magical attack skill that can chain multiple targets. After being transformed into reality, it is simply the incarnation of a power grid. The poverty-stricken days meant that she couldn't even raise the money to repair electrical appliances. The old refrigerator at home went out of work every day, and the food broke and she lost half a month's food expenses. But now, the opportunity is close at hand. She walked quickly across the sidewalk, her wind steps looming faintly, making her steps a little lighter than ordinary people. Bug invasions have become a hot topic in the news. Low-level monsters seeped out of game cracks, and there were reports of goblins robbing vendors on the streets of Shanghai last night. The government blocks the block, but players regard it as wealth. Killing monsters will drop game coins, which can be converted into real resources. Ziqing thought, maybe it's time to try from self-protection to attack. As soon as her footsteps turned into the alley, a scream pierced the night. Monster! Run! In front of a convenience store on the roadside, several young people who looked like white-collar workers after get-off work were running away. A green-skinned goblin jumped out of the shadows. He was no more than 1 meter tall, with eyes as red as blood. He held a rusty dagger in his claws and let out a low growl. It pounced on a dropped backpack, its sharp teeth tearing at the fabric. Its skin glowed with a strange green light under the streetlight, and the air was filled with the stench of dirt and decay. Ziqing's heart tightened, and she instinctively wanted to dodge. This is not a game, there is no resurrection after death. But among the passers-by, a girl tripped and fell to the ground. The goblin turned and pounced on her, claws raised high. The inner monologue is like lightning: you can't hide, this is reality, your chance. She activated the wind step, and wind surged from the soles of her feet. She shot out like an arrow and dodged in front of the girl. The iron wall shield flashed with gray light, and the invisible barrier blocked the claw attack, making a muffled sound like the collision of metal. The goblin was stunned, and the girl exclaimed, "Thank you, thank you." "Back off!" Ziqing shouted. The fireball technique condensed from the palm of her hand, and orange flames roared out, hitting the monster's chest. The goblin howled, his skin scorched black, and his dagger flew out of his hand, clanking to the ground. It counterattacked, waving its claws wildly. Ziqing decided to dodge, and took her to the flank with a galloping step, hitting her head with another fireball. The monster fell to the ground and twitched, turning into a cloud of green mist and dissipating. A few game fragments like copper coins fell in the air, and a systematic prompt flashed in his mind: kill the low-level goblin and get 20 gold coins. Passers-by gathered around, some applauded, and some used their mobile phones to record. "Oh my god, this girl has superpowers. Is she a player?" The girl climbed up and held Ziqing's hand with tears in her eyes. "You saved me. You are a hero." Ziqing smiled awkwardly and touched the back of her head. "It's a small matter, there are more and more bugs, everyone, be careful." But there was warmth in her heart. She was a passerby in the past, now, she saved people. It felt like she had been reborn. In the crowd, someone shouted, "Add a friend." "Which guild are you from?" Ziqing shook her head, flashed with a swift wind step, and slipped into the night. Behind the scenes, there was a flurry of discussion. "Sunny Sky Girl?" I heard she's a newcomer, awesome. Back at the rental house, Ziqing gasped and pushed the door open. The lights in the house were dim, the refrigerator was humming but not cooling, and the yogurt inside was moldy and smelled overwhelming. She rubbed her temples, put on a VR helmet, and logged into Fantasy World. The auction square in the main city is brightly lit and crowded with people. The air is mixed with the smell of spices and sweat. The NPC auctioneer's voice is like thunder, the next lot. The rare attack skill book Thunder Chain. The starting bid is 800 gold, the chain will chain 5 targets, the damage will be superimposed, a must-have in the era of bugs. Sun Yu was already waving in the crowd, and his warrior figure squeezed out a few scattered people. Ziqing, here. Tonight's big auction, Mengyao's Phantom Guild is all out. She is eyeing the lightning chain, trying to monopolize the electricity resources. Ziqing squeezed to his side, staring at the giant screen, the blue and purple cover of the Thunder Chain, 30 minutes remaining. The starting price has soared to 1,000 gold, and several small guilds are trying to increase the price. How much are our total funds? Ziqing asked in a low voice, her palms slightly wet. Sun Yu grinned, I used my private money to collect 1,500. The 800 you paid for killing monsters adds up to 2,300. It's enough, but Meng Yao has a guild allocation, which is estimated to be tens of thousands. As soon as he finished speaking, an ID, Phantom Queen, popped up, and the price was increased to 1,500. The hall was buzzing, retail investors flinched, and someone muttered, Meng Yao is here, retail investors are finished. Ziqing's heartbeat quickened and her mind raced, she had observed Meng Yao's style. Last time during the wind step, her opponent would always attack hard in the mid-term, scaring off the cannon fodder, and finishing at the end. But tonight's large-scale auction is crowded with people and she will save her energy to deal with other auctions. Psychological warfare starts here. Sun Yu, don't move yet. Let her increase it to 2,000, and we will follow up, pretending to be rich and joining forces. Sun Yu's eyes lit up, understood. Outsmart her. As the screen scrolled, Meng Yao added 3 times to 2,200. The individual people exited, and the hall was quiet except for the buzzing of the crystal lamp. Ziqing took a deep breath, and the operation panel read, 2,500. Her ID, Qingkong Wanli, jumped to the top of the list, and the crowd erupted in discussion. Who is it? The newcomer is counterattacking. Meng Yao immediately counterattacked, 2,800. Sun Yu cursed in a low voice, cruel. She is testing. Ziqing smiled, increased to 3,200, slow down, let her think we are confident. Sun Yu transfer support, 3,200. The hall was boiling, and someone whistled, these 2 newcomers, join forces to be awesome. Meng Yao hesitated for 5 seconds and increased it to 3,500. Ziqing felt the air moving like electricity, and said in her heart, don't panic, from self-preservation to attack, this is my battlefield. She whispered to Sun Yu, tell the guild channel to spread rumors, I have an insider, there is a bug in the lightning chain, and the reality will explode after transformation. Sun Yu operated quickly, and the chat channel refreshed, I heard that the lightning chain is unstable, Meng Yao still wants it? The psychological warfare worked, and Meng Yao's price increase slowed down and stopped at 3,800. Ziqing decisively, 4,000. With the remaining 5 minutes, the hall was like a battlefield, and passers-by bet, the newcomer has a good chance of winning. Meng Yao added 4,200, but hesitation was obvious, a message from the guild members popped up, and someone advised, Queen, save money to take a copy. Ziqing gritted her teeth, and the total funds were raised, 4,500. The system bell rang, deal. The thunder and lightning chain returns to Ziqing. Blue and purple light poured into the panel, and the skills were integrated into the body. Ziqing quit the game. In reality, her fingertips felt numb and itchy, like static electricity. The refrigerator was still humming, so she walked closer and silently recited the thunder chain. A thin purple arc shot out from the palm of his hand, jumped like a chain, and hit the circuit board. There was a soft popping sound, the machine hummed and turned, cold air rushed out, and the musty smell of yogurt gradually dissipated. Ziqing was stunned, then laughed. From broken home appliances to repairs, this small victory solved the troubles of poverty, no need to buy new ones, saving hundreds of dollars. Power is not only about fighting, it can also change your daily life. She thought to herself, from being a weakling to this, I am starting to take the initiative. Still excited, she logged into the game again. Sun Yu pulled her into the safe zone, bulls. Meng Yao is furious. Her guild men have been ambushing outside the city, trying to steal the skill book. After saying this, 3 phantom players sprang out, 2 assassins and a mage. The leader smiled sinisterly, newcomer, hand over the lightning chain. The queen's order. They surrounded them, their daggers flashed with cold light, and the mage chanted fireballs. Ziqing sneered, activated the iron wall shield to block the first blow, and dodged with the wind step. Domination surged in my heart, it's time to attack. Sun Yu, flank. She raised her hand, and the lightning chain exploded, purple lightning like a snake, sprang out from her palm, chained the first assassin, jumped to the second person, and then locked the mage. The 3 of them twitched at the same time, arcs of electricity jumped, their HP dropped wildly, and they fell to the ground wailing. System prompt, kill 3 enemies, reputation plus 50. Sun Yu slashed the lone man with his sword and laughed, crush. This thunder and lightning is like a chain. The enemy was wiped out, Meng Yao's projection appeared in the distance, and all the server's channels openly challenged her, it's clear sky, little bug, are you trying to steal my things? The Phantom Guild will remember you, and we'll see what happens in the next dungeon. Her voice was seductive but sinister, like a street drug dealer threatening. Ziqing looked directly at the projection and her voice echoed through the channel, Meng Yao, monopolize resources? Times have changed. I will not only protect myself, I will attack. Your guild will fall apart sooner or later. Come on. The response was thunderous and the channel exploded. Players commented, the newcomer's declaration is awesome. This is the seedling of the Overlord. Sun Yu patted her on the shoulder, it's cool. Let's form a prototype of a small team. I'll recruit 2 reliable individual players, the nanny and the small DPS of the Iron-Blooded Alliance. They like your strength. Ziqing nodded, thinking about a change in her heart, from being alone to being a team, this is growth. In reality, monsters are increasing and bugs are getting worse. She needs partners. The night wind blew through the city wall, the cracks in the distance flashed faintly, and a low roar loomed. Sun Yu's message popped up, the first teammate agreed to join. Level up tomorrow and aim for the intermediate boss. Ziqing clenched her cane, the aftertaste of thunder and lightning whispered at her fingertips. Although the road ahead was dangerous, she had switched from defense to offense, and her road to dominance was beginning to show its edge. When Ziqing walked out of the company's tea room, the bitter smell of cheap coffee and the hushed chatter of her colleagues were still in the air. She glanced at her phone, and Sun Yu's game message popped up, the advanced map, Thunder Canyon, will start tomorrow? Bring new teammates, level up and grab resources. The corners of her mouth raised slightly. In the past, she fell asleep after work, but now, every night is like an arrow ready to go. The bug invasion has made reality weird. Last night, the news reported that green cracks were opening in the streets of Beijing, and goblins were infested, and the police could not stop them with bullets. There was also a faint movement in Shanghai, and she had to become stronger quickly. Early the next morning, Ziqing put on a VR helmet and her consciousness sank into the fantasy world. The entrance to Thunder Canyon is like the mouth of a giant beast, with steep walls and shrouded clouds and mist. The air is filled with the smell of damp stone and the muffled sound of distant thunder. Sun Yu is already waiting with 2 new teammates, Nanny Xiaowei, a gentle elf girl with a staff wrapped in green light, DPS Xiaolei, a stocky archer with a jingling quiver. Sister Ziqing, I heard from Brother Sun that your lightning chain is super powerful. If we follow you, it will be absolutely safe. Xiao Lei grinned, and his voice sounded like a street vendor shouting for barbecue. Don't waste time. The boss in the canyon drops rare ores, which can be sold for skill books. Ziqing nodded, activated the wind step and led the way deeper. The steps are light, the wind howls from the ears, the canyon wind roars like a beast, mixed with the crunching sound of falling gravel. The team cooperated tacitly, Xiao Wei's healing light fell like spring rain, and Xiaolei's arrow shot through the shadow wolf like a meteor. Sun Yu's sword flashed and he protected his rear wing. Ziqing, the intelligence says there is a hidden treasure box here. Opening it can unlock stealth skills. Meng Yao is keeping an eye on it, we have to be quick. Halfway deep into the canyon, the buzzing of bowstrings suddenly came from the narrow place of the canyon. More than a dozen figures emerged from the fog, all bearing the marks of the Phantom Guild. The assassin flashed invisible, the mage chanted rain of fire, and the warrior pressed down with heavy shield. The leading berserker smiled ferociously, the clear sky is clear, Queen Mengyao's order, destroy the team and seize resources. Arrows rained down like a storm, Ziqing's heart trembled, this was a planned ambush. She shouted, spread out. Sun Yu steps forward, I'll deal the damage. The gray light of the iron wall shield rose up, blocking the first wave of arrows. The impact was like a hammer hitting a stone, making the arm numb. Xiao Wei screamed, there are too many people. Sun Yu slashed one person with his sword, and blood sprayed out. Hold on, Ziqing uses thunder and lightning. Ziqing activated the wind step, and moved around to the side like a ghost, with purple electricity condensing in the palms of her hands. The lightning chain breaks out, the arc of electricity shoots out like a purple snake, locking the three assassins, jumping the mage, and then chaining the warrior. 5 people twitched at the same time, their skin was charred, and they fell to the ground wailing. The system prompted a continuous flash, kill 5 enemies, experience plus 200. The guild members panicked, and the berserker roared, surround her. But Ziqing refused to retreat, the aftertaste of thunder and lightning beat at her fingertips, and her heart was churning. In the past, I was the prey, now, I am the hunter. The second wave of chain attacks targeted the back row, and the electric chain was like a net. 7 people fell down, and the canyon echoed with the smell of burnt meat and screams. Sun Yu took the opportunity to rush in, killing the lone enemy with the light of his sword like a dragon. Xiaolei's arrows made up for the damage, and Xiao Wei's treatment stabilized the team. Retreat! Their backup is coming! Ziqing shouted, and the team rushed out of the encirclement with the wind step. Meng Yao's roaring projection was faintly heard in the mist. You little bitch, I will remember this grudge. Escaped, the team took a breather in the safe zone. Sun Yu wiped his sweat, his eyes sparkling. Ziqing, your thunder and lightning are like chains. You killed 12 people, and your reputation is incredible. Our team has a stable prototype. Xiao Wei and Xiao Lei praised repeatedly, sister, you are our boss. Ziqing smiled, and a warm current surged in his heart. Friendship is not empty talk, it is a way to fight side by side. She patted Sun Yu on the shoulder, thank you, your information saved my life. Next step, go straight to the auction house and grab the invisibility technique. That book can make us invisible and sneak attacks. After transforming into reality, we can survive in the workplace. The auction house hall was brightly lit and crowded, the crystal chandeliers shed golden light, and the scent of ink mixed with the stench of sweat filled the air. The giant screen scrolls, and the invisibility skill book is on the shelves, silver cover, starting price of 1,200 gold, 25 minutes remaining. Sun Yu came closer and whispered, intelligence shows that Meng Yao has been planning for a long time. Her guild hoarded 5,000 gold last night just for this book. Invisibility is not only invisible in the game. After the reality is transformed, it can avoid surveillance and eavesdropping. It is a magical skill in the era of bugs. Don't even think about retail investors. Our total funds are 4,000. Let's fight. The bidding started fiercely, and when it reached 1,800 gold, several small guilds tried to raise the price, but as soon as Phantom Queen came out, the price was immediately lowered to 2,500. There was buzzing discussion in the hall. Meng Yao is here again. The newcomers should have dispersed. Ziqing stared at the screen, her palms slightly wet. Sun Yu, increase the price separately and pretend that multiple parties are joining forces. Let her think there is competition. Sun Yu nodded and the operation panel, 2,800. Meng Yao counterattacked with 3,200, Ziqing followed up with 3,500, Xiaolei and Xiao Wei chipped in to support, and the team channel was lively. Add. We won't lose. The heat is coming. With 5 minutes left, the price soared to 4,500. Meng Yao added 3 times in a row, reaching 5,200, and the guild members shouted, "The queen is mighty." Ziqing felt the air was like fire, and said in her heart, "I can't let her monopolize, this is my way to counterattack." Sun Yu whispered, "She is confident, but something happened within the guild. I spread the news that the invisibility technique has a bug and can be easily detected." The chat channel refreshed. Meng Yao hesitated, and then paused after adding 5,500. Ziqing gritted her teeth and spent all her savings plus Sun Yu's assistance, 5,800. The hall was boiling, and passers-by shouted, "The newcomer narrowly won." Meng Yao's face turned green. The system bell rang. Deal. Silver light poured into the panel, and the invisibility technique was integrated into the body. Ziqing quit the game, and in reality, she felt her body become lighter, as if melting into the air. In the afternoon, in the company's conference room, the voices of Lao Wang and the department supervisor came out from the crack in the door, that Ziqing has average abilities, but she has been late recently. I heard she has superpowers. Humph, we pushed Shaoli for promotion, and she was marginalized. There is only one promotion quota, so suppress her. The conspiracy was like a poisonous snake. Ziqing's heart was filled with anger. In the past, she would tolerate it. Now, she silently recited the invisibility technique, blurred her body, and slipped into the conference room silently. The air was filled with the smell of smoke and the dryness of documents. The supervisor's words were clear to my ears. Yes, Shaoli is obedient. That girl Ziqing has been arrogant recently and deducted her performance. Ziqing listened invisibly, exited the room, and went straight to Lao Wang's office after revealing herself. Manager Wang, I have evidence. The meeting recording shows that you are ostracizing me. She played the hidden recording on her phone, recorded while invisible. Lao Wang's face was livid. You, how do you know? Ziqing smiled. Times have changed, I have a way. The supervisor said that Shaoli is obedient. Then I will prove myself. She threw out the promotion proposal that she had revised last night, with accurate data and a workplace response plan that incorporated bug crises. The supervisor came over after hearing the news and coughed in embarrassment. Ziqing, this is a good proposal. I'll give you a promotion. Lao Wang glared, and Ziqing felt happy. From victim to reverse, this is power. The shackles of the workplace were loosened, and she saw the dawn of freedom. Returning to the game at night, Ziqingla's team went straight to Meng Yao's stronghold, the outside of Phantom Fortress, with towering stone walls, blazing torches, and patrolling guards like wolves. Sun Yu whispered, she was angry with us for robbing books. The resource library is full of ores and potions. We made a sneak attack and became invisible to open the way. Ziqing activated the invisibility technique, and her figure dissipated like smoke. The touch was wonderful, the air was wrapped like silk, and her footsteps were silent. She slipped into the fortress, away from the firelight and the guard's breath, and the smell of animal hides hit her face. The lock on the resource library door clicked. She pried it open invisibly and grabbed a pile of sparkling ores and potion bottles. The system prompted, theft was successful and she received 1,000 gold. The alarm sounded, and the guard rushed over. Who? Ziqing appeared, and the lightning chain locked onto the 5 people, killing them and falling to the ground. Sun Yu's team burst in from the outside, with swords and arrows raining down, Xiao Wei's treatment stabilized. Ziqing, awesome. We have the resources. When they retreated, Meng Yao's projection roared, thief. Phantom will not let you go. Ziqing turned around and sneered, your monopoly is over. The crisis turned to victory, the team cheered, and Sun Yu patted her on the back. From good friends to strong brothers, let's counterattack together. Friendship is like wine, getting stronger with age, Ziqing thought to herself. Sun Yu is not only the intelligence, but also the backing. In reality, Ziqing took off her helmet. The night was dark outside the window, a green crack flashed between the tall buildings, and a low roar was faintly heard. Screams broke out in the streets, and a group of goblins jumped out of the cracks and rushed towards the vendors under the street lights. The bug has worsened. Ziqing rushed out the door, flashed to the scene with swift wind steps, and became invisible to avoid the sight of the monster. The lightning chain locked the group, purple lightning exploded like a net, the monster twitched and fell to the ground, and the cracks slowly closed. The system's mind prompts, solve the rift and hide the reward, skill slot +1, experience doubled. Passers-by gathered around, hero. Are you the Qingkong girl? Ziqing smiled, and her heart changed, the enemy is a monopolist like Meng Yao, and I am a counterattacker. Poverty, the workplace, monsters, they all have to be overcome. Sun Yu's message popped up, real-life battle. Awesome. We will form a team tomorrow to practice new skills. She replied, together, buddy. The road ahead is windy, and the road to dominance is getting wider and wider. Ziqing pushed open the door of the rental house. The night wind was mixed with the sharp sound of sirens in the distance, and the burning smell of the monster's ashes still lingered on the street. She threw off her shoes, and there was a dull pain when the soles of her feet touched the ground. Real-life combat is not a game after all. Even though the wind step was fast, the residual electricity from the lightning chain was still moving on her skin, like a static blanket. She grabbed her phone, and Sun Yu's message popped up again, awesome. Have you mastered all the real-life monsters? Tomorrow, you will lead your teammates to practice understanding the boss in the depths of Thunder Canyon. Your skill combination, fireball, thunder and lightning, wind, iron wall, invisibility, it is all powerful, let's become a mid-level master. She smiled and replied, okay, boss, I will organize it. Call Xiao Wei and Xiaolei and meet at 7 o'clock. This change from working alone to working as a team made her feel warm in her heart. In the days of poverty, she was used to carrying it alone. Now, the trust of her partners is like a backing, making her no longer afraid of the wind and rain ahead. Putting on the VR helmet, one's consciousness sank into the illusion world, and the bustle of the main city square hit one's face. Vendors selling potions, the smell of barbecue and rust intertwined in the air, and the boots of NPC guards stepped on the stone slabs, making a regular thumping sound. The team had gathered at the city gate, and Sun Yu waved, Ziqing is here. The Thunder Giant, deep in the canyon, is an intermediate boss. It drops a lot of experience and may have rare materials. Meng Yao is still licking her wounds, but be careful of her spies. Xiao Wei blinked, and the green light of the staff flashed, sister, I have upgraded my milk supply, and I promise not to drop the chain. Xiao Lei pulled the bow to test the string, and the arrow buzzed, whatever the output, sister Ziqing will fly. Ziqing nodded, activated the wind step and took the lead. Follow closely, the canyon is thick with fog, and monsters will ambush. The goal is to practice tacit understanding, and at the same time explore the source of the bug. The news said that cracks seep out from deep in the game. The team went deep into the canyon, and the wind roared like a wild beast, mixed with the muffled sound of thunder. When the low-level thunder wolves pounced, Ziqing became invisible and dodged, locking 3 of them with lightning chains. The purple lightning jumped, and the wolves twitched and fell to the ground. The smell of burnt fur hit their nostrils. Xiao Lei's arrow rain lasts, Sun Yu's sword kills the single player, Xiao Wei's halo shines, and her HP is as stable as a rock. The tacit understanding is good. Ziqing chuckled, feeling the sense of responsibility of a leader in her heart, not just a one-person show, but to lead everyone to win. The entrance to the boss room is hidden in a crack in the canyon wall, and the giant spirit appears with a roar, 5 meters tall, with a rocky body wrapped with thunder and lightning, eyes like blue fire, the ground trembles, and gravel rolls down like rain. The air is hot and the smell of electricity is pungent. It punched and fired thunder arcs. The top of Sun Yu's iron shield made a sharp sound of twisted metal. Ziqing, output. Ziqing walked in a circle with a quick wind step, hitting the weak point with a series of fireballs. The giant roared, and whipped out a backhand thunder whip, causing the team's HP to drop wildly. Xiao Wei's milk supply couldn't keep up, and Xiao Lei was knocked away. I can't hold it anymore. At the critical moment, Ziqing was invisible and sneaked closer. The iron wall shield blocked the blow. The lightning chain locked the giant spirit's joints. The arc of electricity shot into the rock and the cracks expanded. But the boss counterattacked, the thunder net exploded, the team was all hit, the vision was blurred, and the pain was like a needle prick. Sun Yu gasped, retreat? This guy is too fierce. Ziqing gritted her teeth and said in her heart, we can't retreat. This is a test for the team. I have to take the lead. She shouted, Xiao Wei concentrates on milking me, I'll open it up. The lightning chain was fully opened, locking the boss and surrounding monsters, purple light erupted like a net, and the giant spirit stiffened and twitched. Sun Yu took the opportunity to stab his heart with his sword, Xiao Lei's arrows were fired, and Xiao Wei's brilliance poured out. Just when the boss was about to die, a green crack opened in its chest, green mist poured out, and the system prompt flashed, clues to the source of the bug, deep system loopholes, virtual and real fusion accelerated. Kill to get the hidden mission, sealing the rift. Ziqing was shocked, this is the key. She activates all her skills, sprints with lightning and wind, fireballs seal the cracks, and the iron wall blocks the final counterattack. The giant spirit collapsed, the rocks shattered with thunderous sounds, and the experience was golden. The team was upgraded to 2 levels, and the mid-level masters were unlocked. A bunch of thunder crystals and clue fragments fell, and Sun Yu picked them up, bulls. This clue is valuable. If you sell it to an intelligence dealer, you can exchange it for a skill book. Ziqing, you are so stable in leading the team. From individual show to team, we are like an iron army. The team high-fived and celebrated. Ziqing looked at the panel and felt an inner transformation. From a weak girl to the current leader, it felt like she had grown wings. It is not the arrogance of a lone ranger, but the responsibility to lead everyone forward. Sun Yu, save the clues for now. We are short of milk, and the auction house has the healing light, a team fighting skill that can transform reality and save people without any pressure. Let's go and bid. The auction house hall was like a battlefield, with crowds of people, crystal lamps buzzing, and the scent of ink mixed with the smell of nervous sweat in the air. On the giant screen, the healing light skill book shines, golden cover, starting price of 1,500 gold, 30 minutes remaining. Sun Yu whispered, intelligence shows that the Mengyao Guild is on a total blockade. She sent people to buy out the surrounding auction items and raise prices to suppress retail investors. The guild's funds are tens of thousands, and we have a total of 4,000 and 5,000. We can't fight hard, so we have to outwit them. After saying this, there was a commotion at the entrance of the hall, and members of the Phantom Guild filed in. The leading deputy smiled sinisterly. The Queen orders all rare books to be rounded up by Phantom. Retail investors get out. The bidding started smoothly, and when it reached 2,000 gold, the small guild tried it out, but as soon as the Phantom appeared, the price was immediately lowered to 3,000. The scattered people flinched and chattered, it's blocked, the newcomers are finished. Ziqing stared at the screen, her palms slightly wet. Sun Yu, plan the funds, you contact the black market and borrow 2,000 from loan sharks, and I will sell the thunder crystals for 1,050. Let them waste it on cannon fodder first. Sun Yu operated quickly, and the team channel was lively, borrowed. The black market interest rate is fierce, but it is worth it. Ziqing, you lead the price increase and pretend to be a bully. The screen scrolled, and the phantom increased to 4,500. The deputy shouted, who dares to follow? The queen's world. Ziqing took a deep breath, and the fire of counterattack surged in her heart, added to 4,800. Her ID jumped up, and the crowd exclaimed, a clear sky. That newbie. The phantom counterattacked 5,200, Ziqing followed up with 5,500, and Sun Yu whispered, black market money has come in, totaling 7,000. Spread the news, healing light has a bug, the milk supply is unstable, and there will be hesitation within the guild. The chat channel refreshed, the phantom members whispered, and the deputy's face turned pale. After adding 6,000, it slowed down. The climax came, with 3 minutes left, the price soared to 7,500. The phantom deputy roared, 8,000. Who is still following? Ziqing felt that the air was like fire, and the team's funds were pressing on her. She gritted her teeth, 8,500. The hall was boiling, and passers-by bet, the newcomer is going to win. Meng Yao's face is green. The deputy hesitated, and a guild message popped up to show internal strife. Queen, save money to take a copy. Sun Yu took the opportunity to add 9,000, and Ziqing led the final blow, 9,500. The system rings loudly, deal. Golden light poured into the panel, and the healing light merged into the body. Meng Yao's projection appeared, and all channels in the server roared, Qingkong Wanli. Are you trying to steal my blockade? Phantom destroy your whole family. Ziqing fired back, Monopoly. Times have changed, I will lead a team to counterattack. Your guild, break up. The channel exploded, and players hotly discussed, the leader's declaration is awesome. Support Qingkong. Sun Yu laughed, win outsmarted, although the money is lost, but it is worth it. Healing and transformation, reality saves people. After exiting the game, Ziqing felt warmth surge in her palms, like a spring breeze blowing on her face. On the streets, the bug crisis escalated, monsters burst out from the cracks, more than a dozen goblins and shadow wolves attacked the city, screams broke out, street lamps shattered, and the smell of blood mixed with exhaust fumes. A young mother was knocked down by a wolf, her child cried out, and passers-by used sticks to resist but were unable to do so. Ziqing rushed forward and sneaked into the pack of wolves invisibly. The lightning chain locked onto 5 of them. Purple lightning exploded and the monsters twitched. After revealing herself, she activated the healing light, golden light fell on her mother's wound, the blood faded, and the fractures healed like new. Her mother's eyes were filled with tears, thank you, you are an angel. Passers-by gathered around, applauding and cheering, Hero Qingkong saved us. Ziqing helped her up, feeling happy, from a personal hero to the people's support, this power not only protects oneself, but also protects others. A news notification flashed on the mobile phone, mysterious players fought off a group of monsters, and netizens are hotly discussing the Clear Sky Alliance. Returning to the game at night, the team went straight to the advanced copy, Shadow Demon Abyss. The boss Shadow Demon makes a ghastly appearance, a body of black mist, tentacles like whips, the air is bitingly cold, and the smell is astounding. It summoned mobs to siege, and the team fell into a hard fight. Sun Yu's HP was at the bottom, and Xiao Wei said, I can't hold on. Ziqing activated the healing light, and the golden light poured out like a tide. The team's wounds were healed and their HP was full. Reversal moment. Up. Output. She took the lead with a flurry of steps, locking the tentacles with lightning chains, bombarding the core with fireballs, slashing with Sun Yu's sword, raining down thunder and arrows, and Xiao Wei's battery life. Shadow Demon wailed and collapsed, and experience skyrocketed, the whole team was upgraded, the mid-level masters were stable, and the team's skill, linked attack, was unlocked. During the celebration, Ziqing patted Sun Yu and said, from friends to the Iron Team, we will go through this journey together. We have clues about the source of the bug, and there are many monsters in reality. Let's recruit allies, recruit individual members of the Iron Blood Alliance to build the Clear Sky Alliance. Sun Yu's eyes lit up, good idea. Xiao Wei and Xiao Lei have agreed, and I will contact Lao Niao. From an individual to a leader, you have changed, Ziqing. She smiled, and her heart grew like a tide. The responsibility is heavy, but freedom is near. Outside the dungeon, Meng Yao's spies were peeping faintly, and the cracks in the distance were roaring. Although the road ahead was dangerous, her team was like a shield, but she had no fear. When Ziqing stepped out of the dungeon exit, the mist of Thunder Canyon was still wrapped around her feet, like an old friend she couldn't part with. The starry sky of the game is bright, the lights of the main city in the distance are like a sea, and the noisy laughter of the players can be faintly heard. She took off her helmet. In reality, the air in the rental house was stuffy and the police sirens outside the window were intermittent. The bug monster was making trouble in the surrounding communities again last night. The news said that Shanghai's outer ring road had been closed. Her phone vibrated, and Sun Yu's voice message popped up, Ziqing, the alliance is done. I recruited 3 casual members of the Iron-Blooded Alliance, the tank Old Cow, the DPS Crazy Girl, and the reconnaissance Fox. They heard about your lightning chain and healing light, and their eyes went straight. Let's meet in the main city at 7 tomorrow, let's talk about the next target. She smiled and replied, okay, I heard that the rare book of Dragon Flame Summoning will be on the auction house tonight. Summoning the fire dragon to burn the enemy, transforming reality, and dealing with the monster lair is perfect. We have to get ahead of Meng Yao. Sun Yu replied in seconds, awesome. The team has expanded and the funds have been gathered together. The power game, let's play it. In the game the next day, the main city square was as lively as a night market, with the cries of vendors mixed with the smell of barbecue and the clanking of blacksmiths' hammers. Sun Yu was waiting by the fountain with the new members. Lao Niao was a sturdy dwarf warrior, with a shield like a city gate, and a rough voice like a street vendor selling meat buns. Mad Girl had red hair, held a staff in both hands, and her eyes flashed with wildness. Little Fox was thin and nimble, with investigative tools hidden under his cloak, and he smiled like a naughty guy next door. Boss Qing Kong. Brother Sun will blow you to the sky, we will follow you. Lao Niao slapped his chest, causing the fountain to splash with water. Ziqing nodded and glanced at everyone, welcome to the Clear Sky Alliance. It is not a monopoly like a guild. We are individuals who join forces to protect each other and grab resources to protect themselves. Reality bugs are in chaos, there are more and more monster nests, and the news says that global alarms are sounding, and the streets of Europe and the United States have become war zones. We lack a large-scale AoE, and dragon flame summoning is just right, summoning fire dragons to burn the enemies, and it can be used in reality after transformation. Sun Yu, where is the intelligence? Sun Yu grinned and took out the information scroll from his backpack. The auction house is going to have a big auction tonight. The bidding starts at 3,000 gold for the Dragon Flame book. The rarity is S level. It dropped from the Abyss dungeon. It summons dragon flames to continuously burn and cause chain damage. Meng Yao is keeping a close eye on her. Her guild cleared the Abyss last night. She has accumulated tens of thousands of gold to monopolize the fire element. Her vanguard has been ambushing us outside the auction house. She narrowed her eyes and said, I have investigated that there is a crack in the Phantom Guild, the deputy wants to go it alone, and we can use it. The team nodded, and Ziqing felt like a strategist. In the past, she was a pawn who followed the trend, now, she is planning the chess game. The temptation of power is like sweet poison bait. If you establish a guild, you can command thousands of troops to crush Meng Yao. But she shook her head and had a brief inner monologue, no, freedom is my path, and a loose alliance is true. It's not the crown, it's the trust of your partners. Let's go to the auction house. The total funds are 8,000. Let's ally with the scattered people first and outwit her. The auction house hall was like a boiling pot, the crystal chandeliers were swaying with golden light, and the scent of ink in the air was mixed with the smell of sweat and nervous breathing. On the giant screen, the red light of the dragon flame summoning book shines. The starting price is 3,000, and there are 40 minutes left. In the crowd, the members of the Phantom Guild dispersed like wolves, and the deputy stared at the entrance with a grim smile. The queen ordered, "Block this book. If retail investors dare to join, they will destroy the whole family." Meng Yao's projection appeared, and the seductive voice resounded, "Sunny Sky Bug, you will die when you come. The dragon flame is mine." The bidding started like a powder keg, and when it reached 4,500 gold, Xiao Sanren tried to increase the price, but Phantom suppressed it like crazy. He increased it 5 times in a row, going straight to 8,000. The hall was buzzing with discussion. Meng Yao is really serious. All the guild resources will be destroyed. Newbie Alliance GG. Ziqing's team crowded in the front row, and Lao Niu growled, "Boss, a hard fight?" She shook her head and activated Xiaohu's investigation. Those in the alliance, spread the news first. Dragon Flame has hidden dangers, and it is easy to backfire after summoning, and the guild will panic. Xiaohu operated quickly, and the chat channel refreshed the screen. Inside story. There are many bugs in Longyan, and it transforms into reality and burns down your own home. Phantom still dares. Phantom members stole, and the deputy's face was ashen, and he slowed down after increasing the price to 10,000. Ziqing whispered, "Sun Yu, contact the black market and borrow 3,000, crazy girl, sell the ore you have hoarded for 2,000. Lao Niu, increase the price to 9,500 for loading cannon fodder, which will tempt her to waste." Sun Yu nodded, "Borrowed. The interest is harsh, but it's worth it." Lao Niu's operation, 9,500. The Phantom Deputy roared, 11,000. Who is still following? The hall was boiling, and the San people were aroused. Phantom is bullying people too much. Let's join forces. Ziqing took the opportunity to post on the channel. The Clear Sky Alliance calls on San people to join together. Don't allow monopoly, share resources. More than a dozen San people IDs popped up, and the price increase was like a flood. 112,000, 11,500. Meng Yao's projection roared, "Traitor! The guild will destroy you." But the internal cracks widened, and a message from the deputy leaked, "Queen, the fund allocation has been blocked, and the copy has been severely damaged." The price increase was stuck at 13,000, with obvious hesitation. Ziqing felt like the air was on fire, and the team's funds were 15,000. She gritted her teeth and said, "All in. 15,000. The ID, Clear Sky, jumped to the top, and the crowd burst into cheers. Reversal. The Sanren won. Phantom counterattacked wildly, 16,000, 17,000. But the Sanren Alliance followed up and the price soared to 20,000. Meng Yao's voice was sharp, 21,000. This is mine. Ziqing's heart changed like lightning. Power can buy everything, but temptation can destroy freedom. I choose alliance. This is the strategy. Don't monopolize, share the victory. She shouted in a low voice, "Sanren, come on. We have enough backup funds." Sun Yu transferred the money, collected the black market money, and Ziqing increased it to 22,000. With 2 minutes left, the hall was like a battlefield. The deputies were cursing and fighting among themselves. Meng Yao's projection distorted, "Bitch." However, the guild's funds were out of stock, and the price increase stopped at 22,500. Ziqing decisively, 23,000. The system rings loudly, deal. Red light poured into the panel, and the dragon's flame summons integrated into the body. The team high-fived, and Sun Yu laughed, "You are a great strategist. The Sanren Alliance has expanded, and more than a dozen people thank you." The Sanren gathered around, "Boss, join the alliance." Ziqing smiled, "Loosely join forces, share intelligence, don't force it." After exiting the game, Ziqing felt heat waves rolling in her chest, like a volcano gaining momentum. In reality, community alarms sounded, monster lairs expanded underground in old communities, goblins and shadow wolves appeared, and residents screamed and fled. Exhaust fumes mixed with blood on the streets, street lamps shattered, and fire flickered in the distance. Ziqing rushed out the door and flashed to the entrance of the lair with a quick step. The sewer cover exploded, green mist hit her face, and the smell was like a rotten corpse. She sneaked in invisible. The lair was damp and dark, the walls were covered with slime, and the monster's roar echoed. Dozens of monsters were entrenched, their claws scratching the ground. Ziqing appeared and silently recited the call of dragon flames. A red light exploded from the palm of the hand, and the shadow of the fire dragon sprang out. Its scales were like lava, its roar was deafening, and the heat wave was scorching. The dragon flame opens its mouth, sea of fire pours out, burning the nest, the monster wails, the skin is charred, the green mist evaporates, the system reminds, burn the nest, experience plus 1000, community safety. Residents poked their heads out of the windows and cheered, heroes. The monsters are burned out. Ziqing answered the call, and the aftertaste of the heat wave warmed her body, feeling happy. From self-protection to saving the community, this power protects the home, and the shackles of poverty are broken. Returning to the game in the evening, Sun Yula's team entered the PK area. The Mengyao strikers are here. 20 people are ambushing outside the city, trying to steal books and take revenge. As soon as he finished speaking, the phantom strikers rushed out, the warrior shield array pressed down, the wizards rained down fire, and the assassins were invisible and outflanked. The air was scorching hot, swords were roaring, arrows were roaring. Sun Yu stepped forward. Ziqing, use your ultimate move. She sneered, time for revenge. The dragon flame summoning was activated, and the fire dragon appeared, roaring like thunder, spraying dragon breath. The sea of fire engulfed the forwards, 20 people lost HP, fell to the ground wailing, and the smell of burnt smell hit their nostrils. System flash, kill 18, crushing victory. Mengyao's projection collapsed, impossible. The whole server channel exploded, clear sky openly crushes phantom. Long Yan is too fierce. Ziqing declared, Mengyao, your monopoly is over. Clear Sky Alliance, the road to freedom. The team cheered, and the old cow patted the back. Boss, cool. We believe in you. Xiaohu shared the investigation. The source of the bug is deep, global alert. The invasion is accelerating, the monster lair is connected to the real city. Ziqing nodded and shared the clue. The canyon fissure is the key. Our alliance explores the abyss and seals the source. Sun Yu, distribute funds to individual people to strengthen trust. Sun Yu clenched his fist, yes. From friends to family, this alliance is ironclad. The crazy girl blinked, sister, power is tempting, isn't it? How cool it is to build an association. Ziqing shook her head, determined in her heart, power is like a shackle, I choose freedom, the strategy is in my heart, not the crown. No. We are strong only if we are loose. Let's fight together, buddies. The team stands side by side, the wind rises outside the city, the abyss roars in the distance, and global alarms echo, but trust is like fire, lighting the way forward. When Ziqing stepped out of the exit of the abyss dungeon, the game's night winds still had the aftertaste of burnt earth, mixed with the smoky aroma of players' campfires in the distance. The team members wiped their virtual sweat, and Sun Yu patted her on the shoulder. Boss, the abyss was successfully explored this time, and all the clues to the cracks were found. Sell it to an intelligence agent tomorrow to exchange for money to strengthen the alliance. Old Neo laughed loudly, and the shield jingled, yes. The Clear Sky Alliance is getting stronger and stronger, and that woman Mengyao is still licking her wounds. But Ziqing felt uneasy. The hot discussions on the server-wide channels were still flooding the screen, and her declaration was like a stone thrown into a lake, the ripples spreading too fast. The power game never stops at words. As soon as he finished speaking, the system alarm sounded like thunder. Server-wide announcement, Phantom Guild declares war. The Clear Sky Alliance stronghold is under siege, PK mode is fully activated. The small alliance camp on the edge of the main city, a temporary wooden fortress with flickering lights, was instantly engulfed in flames. Ziqing's consciousness flashed, and Win's step took her back to the camp. There was chaos in front of her. Hundreds of people from the Phantom Guild came in like a tide, the warrior's shield array pressed down, the mage's fireballs rained down, and the assassin flashed invisible. The air was filled with the pungent smell of burnt wood and the clang of metal collision. The camp fence shattered and sawdust flew like snow. Meng Yao, this crazy woman, has taken full revenge. Sun Yu's voice came from the team channel. He was already on the front line, killing the three forwards with his sword like a dragon. Boss, hold on. Xiao Wei is in the back row, Xiao Lei's arrows are suppressing her. Ziqing appeared on the ground, and the gray light of the iron wall shield rose, like a steel wall blocking a wave of arrows. The impact made his arms numb. She shouted, Old Nyo holds the left wing, Crazy Girl fire type assists. Little Fox reconnaissance backup, stealth around the back. The team turned like gears, Lao Nyo's shield muffled to block heavy blows, Crazy Girl's fireballs intertwined with her dragon flame summons, the sea of fire engulfed more than a dozen enemies, and the wailing sounds were mixed with the smell of burnt meat. Xiao Wei's golden light fell, healing wounds like spring rain, and stabilizing HP. However, the enemy troops were numerous and powerful. Meng Yao's projection appeared above the camp, her charming face twisted into a ferocious smile. Qingtian bug, steal my resources? I will destroy your alliance today, spit out the dragon flame book. Her mage group chanted, ice arrows swept through like a storm, and assassin's daggers sprang out from the fog, going straight to Ziqing's heart. Ziqing dodges invisibly, and the lightning chain locks the 5 assassins. Zidian jumps like a net, the enemy twitches and falls to the ground, and the system prompts for a quick kill. But the fence behind the camp collapsed and the enemy troops broke in. Sun Yu was hit by a heavy shield and his HP dropped to the red line. Boss, I can't hold on. They have reinforcements. Ziqing's heart tightened, and her inner monologue was like flashing, we can't let go. This is a test of leadership. From personal battles to teamwork, I have to bear it. At this moment, the auction terminal in the camp flashed, the large-scale auction was opened urgently, and a gold-edged skill book jumped into view, time and space jump, S-level, space teleportation, short-distance teleportation plus time deceleration, crisis escape magic skill. Starting bid is 5,000 gold, 10 minutes remaining. Information pops up, this book fell from the depths of the bug crack. After transforming reality, it can cross the boundary between reality and reality, which is just in line with the current crisis. Sun Yu, bid. This book can be reversed. Ziqing commanded while operating the panel. He stepped out of the way to block a fireball, and the heat wave burned his face. Sun Yu gasped and responded, understood. But we only have 3,000 in funds left, so I'll buy all my money, 5,000. His ID increased the price, black market loans were instantly transferred, and the price in the lobby projection soared to 6,000. The deputy of the Phantom Guild member roared, grab the book. Queen, this is a time and space jump, kill them and go straight to the auction. Meng Yao projection sneered, add it to 8,000. Is Qingkong's money enough to burn? The battlefield was like a pot. Ziqing's dragon flame roared and burned the enemies forward, and the sea of fire reflected the night sky red. However, the enemy mage's ice wall blocked the road and the team was compressed. Sun Yu's capital sacrifice was like a needle pricking his heart. Boss, my real-life account is empty, I'm going all in on you. Ziqing gritted her teeth, thanks, buddy. I will remember this sacrifice. She contacted the Sanren allies, and the channel was refreshed. Qingkong asks for help. Share the time and space book, repel the phantom. More than a dozen Sanren gathered together. Money, price increases came in waves, 9,000, 10,000. Meng Yao counterattacked frantically, and the guild's funds dropped to 12,000, but internal strife broke out again. A message from the deputy leaked, Queen, the money allocation is stuck. Ziqing seized the opportunity and pushed all the team's balance plus individual aid, 13,000. With 30 seconds left, the hall buzzed, and the system bell rang across the battlefield, deal. Golden light poured into the panel, and time and space jumped into the body. Ziqing felt that the space was distorted, like an invisible vortex spinning in the palm of her hand. She shouted, "Team, focus. Jump and retreat." The power of time and space was activated, and the camp rippled like water. She led the team to teleport 100 meters, and the time deceleration made the enemy's movements as slow as a quagmire. The phantom pursuers jumped into the air, and Meng Yao roared, "Thief! Don't run!" But the team had escaped, and Sun Yu gasped, "The sacrifice is worth it, boss, you are awesome." After exiting the game and taking off her helmet, Ziqing heard an alarm outside the real-world window. A large fissure broke out in the outer ring of Shanghai. The news feed went crazy. A giant stone devil emerged from the green mist, 10 meters high, its rocky body smashed into the road, cars rolled, and screams were heard everywhere. The exhaust fumes mixed with blood, the ground shook like an earthquake, passers-by fled, and the police rained bullets but only produced sparks. Ziqing's heartbeat accelerated. This was an opportunity. The time and space jump was transformed. She rushed out the door, rushed to the scene with a swift step, and sneaked close to the edge of the crack while becoming invisible. The stone demon king roared and punched the ground. The gravel flew like shrapnel, and the stone dust in the air was choking his nose. "Come on." Ziqing appeared, activated the space-time jump, space tearing. She teleported behind the demon king, and the time deceleration made the giant beast move as slow as a turtle. The lightning chain locks the joints, and the purple electricity rushes into the rock cracks. The dragon flame summons the fire dragon to surround it, burning the weak points, and the heat wave evaporates into the green mist. The demon king roared and fought back, but Ziqing jumped through the inside of the crack. The boundary between reality and reality was blurred. She felt like falling into a bottomless pit. The green light was dazzling, and the system's weaknesses were exposed like a black hole, a pulsating core, the source of the bug. Her fireball struck directly, the core cracked, the cracks were like broken glass, the demon wailed and fell to the ground, turning into green mist and dissipating. System mind prompt, destroy the weakness, global bugs will be slowed down by 10%, experience plus 5,000. Passers-by gathered around and cheered, hero of the clear sky. She crossed the rift, and the monsters were wiped out. The mobile phone push message exploded, the reputation skyrocketed, and the entire internet was searching for, Clear Sky Girl destroys the Demon King. Fans poured in, and Sun Yu voiced, "Boss, the real world is awesome. The reputation is great, and the alliance is famous." Ziqing gasped and smiled, feeling warm in her heart. From a weakling to a savior, I can bear the weight of leadership. Sacrificing funds like Sun Yu's is not a loss, but a gathering. Returning to the game, the battlefield has moved to a neutral plane. The Phantom Guild is pursuing them, with hundreds of people forming a mountainous formation. Meng Yao came to the front line in person, wearing a gorgeous robe, holding a frost scepter, her demonic eyes locked on Ziqing. "Shao Chong, you got the time and space book. Hand it over, I will spare your life." Her ice dragon summon roared, the cold air froze the grass, and the team was forced to retreat. Xiao Wei screamed, "Boss, the ice spreads." Sun Yu blocked a blow with his sword, blood-stained, "Fight." Ziqing sneered, determined in her heart, the reversal starts with a sneak attack. She activated invisibility plus time and space jump, and teleported behind Meng Yao like a ghost. Time slowed down and made the surrounding enemies stiff like wax statues. The thunder and lightning chain in the palm locked Meng Yao's guard, purple lightning exploded, and 5 people fell to the ground. The dragon flame fire dragon went straight to Meng Yao's back, and the heat wave burned her robe. She screamed and dodged, "Impossible. How did you?" Ziqing appeared, followed up with the wind step, hit the scepter with a fireball, and the frost shattered like glass. Meng Yao counterattacked the ice arrows, but jumped out of the way. Ziqing shouted, "Your monopoly is over." The healing light shined on the team, and the HP was full. The team counterattacked. Sun Yu's sword light was like a wave, Lao Nyo's shield collided with the formation, and small thunder arrows rained down. The battle situation reversed, and the Phantom Army was demoralized. The deputy led the men to flee. Queen, retreat. Clear sky is too fierce. Meng Yao's projection collapsed, and the channel publicly begged for mercy. Stop. I will give you 30% of the resources. But Ziqing's declaration resounded, no, we want freedom, not your charity. Phantom, disband. The enemy army was defeated, hundreds of people were killed, and the system announced, Clear Sky Alliance wins. The team cheered, and Sun Yu hugged her and spun around, Boss, you are so domineering. That sneak attack made Meng Yao's face turn green. Little Fox's investigation report, internal strife broke out in the guild, and Meng Yao's power was dispersed. The plain wind was quiet, the teams sat around, and Ziqing divided the stolen resources. Sun Yu, I will make up for your sacrifice, I will pay back half of the black market debt. The alliance is tighter from now on. Sun Yu shook his head, his eyes sparkling, Boss, it's worth it. Leaders are not orders, they are to lead us to win. Lao Niu patted his chest, yes. I have full cohesion, and I will go to the end of the world with you. Ziqing's heart changed like a tide. I have learned that sacrifice exchanges for trust, and leadership is heart to heart. The reality alarm is still ringing. Although the global bug is slowing down, deep-seated threats are looming. Although the road ahead is dangerous and the team is as strong as iron, she has no fear. The crack in the distance hummed, and Sun Yu whispered, step forward and explore the source. Together. Ziqing nodded, together, buddy. When Ziqing stood up from the lingering smoke on the plain, the night wind blew away the last smell of burnt earth, and the laughter of the team members echoed around the campfire. The old cow munched on the barbecue, and the oil juice dripped on the shield, making a sizzling sound. Boss, this battle was good. The projection of that which Meng Yao was shattered into pieces. Sun Yu handed over the water bag, his eyes bright, yes, but the source of the bug is not over yet. The clues in the canyon fissure point to the core area of the abyss, which is a forbidden area of the system, and the monster's lair is connected to reality. Our alliance will all go out tomorrow. Ziqing nodded, with the heat wave of dragon flame still remaining in her palms. Okay, let's explore the source. Frequent monster riots in reality, and 3 more cracks exploded in Shanghai last night. The Ultimate Book of Divine Power Awakening, Intelligence said that the auction will start tonight, S++ level, fully awakening potential. After transformation, it can integrate all skills and control reality and reality. Meng Yao, she will not give up. Although her guild is broken, her ambition will not die. The little fox narrowed his eyes, and the detection crystal flashed under his cloak. I checked, and there is a system guarding the boss in the core area. The bug is not an accident, but a conspiracy. It's like the developers are deliberately letting things go, testing the player's limits, and perhaps want to use us to reshape the order of reality. The team nodded tacitly, and Ziqing's heart sank. From a personal counterattack to this point, responsibilities are overwhelming. But she didn't say much, activated the wind step and led the team straight to the entrance of the abyss. The abyss is like a bottomless mouth. The air is bitingly cold, mixed with the rotten smell of green mist and a low pulsing sound, like a beating heart. The walls are covered with vein-like cracks, green light flashes, and the tentacles are as cold as dead skin. The team sneaked in, and Xiaohu turned invisible to explore the way. Be careful, the Guardian is coming, a derivative of the system, half machine and half monster. The Guardian boss, watcher of reality and virtuality, appeared from the fog. His body was like a twisted metal tree, with branches wrapped around green crystals. His eyes were red scanning lights, and his roar shook the canyon wall to the point where rubble rolled down. On top of Sun Yu, the sword slashed the branches, making a harsh sound of metal friction. Boss, output. Ziqing disappeared behind him, jumped in time and space to the core. The lightning chain locked the crystal, purple lightning rushed in, the watcher twitched, and the system prompt flashed. Bug core exposed, developer conspiracy. The game invades reality as an experiment, and selects the chosen one, to control the chaotic world. The Awakening Skill Book is the key to unlocking the ultimate power. Ziqing was shocked and had a brief inner monologue. Conspiracy. It's not an accident, it's a trap. From being a weakling to this, she had to break it. The watchman counterattacked, and the branches and vines whipped out like whips. Her iron wall shield blocked it, making a muffled sound like thunder. Dragon flames summoned a fire dragon to burn the branches, and the heat wave steamed up the green mist. Xiaowei's healing light was shed, the team's HP was stabilized, Lao Niu's shield crashed an arm, Mad Girl's fireball assisted, and Xiao Lei's arrow shot through the eye. The Watcher collapsed, the core green crystal shattered, and the system announced to all servers, the secret of the abyss is revealed, and the bug conspiracy is exposed. The ultimate auction begins, divine power awakens, starting bid is 10,000 gold. The team gasped and exited, and Sun Yu wiped his sweat. Boss, this conspiracy is big. The developer wants to use us as pawns, and the awakening book is the trump card. Meng Yao must be crazy, and the remnants of her guild will put all their efforts into it. Ziqing clenched her fists, go back to the main city and bid. Our alliance funds are 15,000, and the Sanren allies will come to support us. Psychological warfare, disintegrate her final madness. The auction house in the main city was like a volcano erupting, with huge crowds of people, crystal chandeliers swaying with golden light, and the scent of ink in the air mixed with the smell of sweat and rapid breathing. Players from all servers poured in, and the Book of Divine Power Awakening shone brightly on the giant screen. The cover was like stars, and there were 45 minutes left. Sun Yu whispered, I contacted the black market and put in all the money for a loan. Xiao Hu spread the news, there are many ghosts in the Meng Yao guild, and her funds are unstable. Lao Niu patted his chest, I sold the equipment to get 2,000. The crazy girl blinked, 20 Sanren allies, total aid is 5,000. There was a commotion at the entrance of the hall. Meng Yao and the remnants of the party filed in. Her robe was damaged, but her face was pale but still charming. Bitch Qing Kong, this book is my life-saving straw. Even if the guild is broken up and I have destroyed all my money, I will wake up and crush you. Her ID, Phantom Queen, jumped on the screen, and the price was increased to 15,000. Channels across the server went crazy. Meng Yao's all-out move? How can the Clear Sky Alliance fight? The chatter among individual people was buzzing, support Clear Sky. The conspiracy is exposed and resources are shared. The bidding was like a storm. Meng Yao added 5 times in a row, going straight to 30,000. The deputy-like remnant yelled, the queen is mighty. Retail investors get out. Ziqing's team squeezed into the front row, and she operated the panel. Sun Yu, be steady first, increase it to 32,000. Let her waste it. Sun Yu transferred the money, and the black market money was collected, add it. The price soared, the hall was boiling, and passers-by were betting, the newbie alliance is awesome. Meng Yao's face turned green. Meng Yao's eyes turned red, 35,000. All mine. But Xiao Hu's message popped up, the insider was exposed, her deputy stole funds, and the guild is collapsing. Ziqing seized the opportunity and started psychological warfare. She posted to the server channel, Meng Yao, your all-out bet is a joke. The conspiracy has been exposed, and developers are targeting ambitious people like you. Hand over the book and join the alliance to share, otherwise, you will be the first to be destroyed after awakening. Meng Yao's projection distorted and screamed, shut up. 40,000. But the remnants of the party stole, the deputy's ID rebelled, and he hesitated to increase the price. The whole server received a flood of attention, and players swiped the screen, destroy her. Come on Qing Kong. After the team raised 40,000 yuan in aid, Ziqing gritted her teeth, all in. 45,000. Sun Yu roared, boss, I believe you. With 5 minutes remaining, the price was at a fever pitch. Meng Yao hit 50,000, her voice trembling, this is my right. But the insider's news leaked, Queen, the funds are gone. She collapsed and paused in raising the price. Ziqing sneered, it's over. 55,000. The system's ringtone was deafening, deal. Golden light pours into the panel, and the awakening of divine power is integrated into the body, like the explosion of the universe, and the fusion of skills, fireball sublimation, thunder and lightning like a net, shadowless wind, iron wall immortality, invisibility and disillusionment, healing and immortality, dragon flames burning the sky, time and space control, almighty awakening. After exiting the game, Ziqing felt like her body was reborn and her strength was like a river. Outside the window, urban riots broke out in Shanghai. Hundreds of monsters sprang out from many cracks, goblins, shadow wolves, and stone demons destroyed high-rise buildings, vehicles rolled, screams were everywhere, blood mixed with exhaust fumes, and the ground shook like the end of the world. The police fired bullets in vain, and passers-by fled in despair. Ziqing rushed out and activated her divine power, all abilities emerged. She teleported to the city center square, and the space-time deceleration slowed down the monsters, the sea of dragon flames burned the forwards, and the heat waves steamed the green mist, the lightning grid locked the group, hundreds of purple light chains locked, the monsters twitched and flew away, the healing light was sprinkled on the injured, the fractures healed, and the blood faded away. The stone demon king rushed towards him, and she blocked the giant fist with an iron wall, making a dull sound like thunder. Then she turned around behind and smashed the core with a fused fire and thunder fist. The rift closes and all monsters are destroyed. Passers-by cheered, "Goddess! The city is saved." The news broadcast went viral, "The clear sky awakens and quells the riots. Global hero." Ziqing gasped and fell to the ground, feeling happy. From a weak chicken to a legend, this transformation is like breaking out of a cocoon. Power is not only fun, but also responsibility, to protect this chaotic world and not let the conspiracy succeed. Returning to the game, server-wide announcement, the awakening of divine power returns to the clear sky. The phantom remnants gathered in the main city square. Meng Yao personally led 50 elites, raising the frost scepter high. "Bitch, what if you awaken? Destroy you." She summoned the ice dragon, the cold air froze the square, the stone slabs cracked, and the biting cold wind blew against her face. Ziqing sneered, "End your delusions." She was at full power, she was like a god, fused with the wind and time and space and teleported into the formation. Thunder and lightning dragon flames erupted, purple-red electric fire like a tornado, locking the entire army, burning and freezing 50 people's HP instantly, and howling like a tide. Meng Yao counterattacked with ice arrows, but Ziqing remained motionless and appeared invisible. She shattered the scepter with a palm of divine power. She fell to the ground and twitched, "Impossible, I lost." The guild mark collapsed, and the system announced, "Phantom Guild collapsed. A Clear Sky Alliance legend is born." The team arrived, and Sun Yu clasped his fists, "Boss, crush with divine power. We won." Lao Niu laughed, "From casual to legend, it's great." Xiao Wei said with tears, "Sister, thank you for taking us." Ziqing divided the resources and patted Sun Yu on the shoulder, "Brother, your helping hand is the key. The bug fight has achieved initial results, the cracks have slowed down, and the global monsters have weakened. But the conspiracy is deep, and the developers are still there. Alliance, we continue, protecting the world, not conquering it." Sun Yu nodded with firm eyes, "Together, boss." The team sat around, joyful as wine. Ziqing looked towards the abyss, and her heart turned. The responsibility of power is as heavy as a mountain, from a poor girl to a guardian, I am determined. The system's red light flashed in the distance, and the ultimate conflict was looming, but she was ready. When Ziqing stood up from the campfire in the main city square, the night wind had already carried the smell of green mist from the cracks in the distance, which was faintly pungent, like coke from a street barbecue stall mixed with rotten vegetable leaves. The team members were still discussing the results of the battle enthusiastically. Lao Niu gnawed on the supply of dried meat, and the oil dripped down his beard. "Boss, this awakening of divine power is simply cheating." That which Meng Yao knelt down without even making a cry. "Our alliance will be a legend in the entire server from now on." Sun Yu handed over a virtual pot of hot tea, smiling so hard that his eyes narrowed, Yes, Ziqing, you have gone from being a novice picking up skill books to dominating the world now. This journey has been very relaxing. Come, have a celebratory drink. Oh, tea. In reality I can't afford real wine. Ziqing took the teapot, the hot air hit her face and warmed her palms. She smiled, but she didn't feel so relaxed. The awakening of divine power made her feel as if her body was integrated into the universe, and her skills were seamlessly integrated. Fireballs can wrap up thunder and lightning, wind steps can jump in time and space, and dragon flame summons can be like a divine beast to protect her body. But the announcements across the server are still flooding the screen. After the bug conspiracy was exposed, players around the world were in a panic. The developers experiment to select the chosen one to reshape the world order. News feeds pop up like crazy. In reality, there are riots in the rifts between Europe, America and Asia. Monster lairs are connected into a network, and the city is on the verge of collapse. Sun Yu, congratulations, where is the intelligence? The deep threat is still there, we can't let down our guard. She asked in a low voice. The aroma of tea mixed with the smoke of the campfire reminded her of the old days in the rental house. At that time, she just wanted to get rid of poverty and pursue some personal freedom. Sun Yu put away his smile, and an intelligence scroll popped up on the panel. Cow. The little fox reconnaissance is back. A large-scale bug invasion has started. The developer deliberately enlarged the rift. The global monster army is about to gather, and the target is the core city of reality. Shanghai, Tokyo, and New York all broke out within 3 hours. The last rare resource, virtual and real fusion crystal, will be auctioned tonight. It is S+++ grade and can strengthen the team's skills and seal the source of the rift. Meng Yao's sighed. After her guild collapsed, she sent a private message asking for peace. She wanted to join the alliance in exchange for protection. But I think her ambition is not dead, and she is probably an undercover agent. Ziqing frowned and clicked on the private message. Meng Yao's projection appeared, and her voice was seductive but trembling. Qingkong. No, Ziqing, I was wrong. The phantom has dispersed, and I have nowhere to go. Let me join the alliance, and I will bring the resources of the remaining party and share intelligence. The game of power is over, and we join forces to fight against the developers. Her eyes were shining with tears, like a defeated dog in a TV series, begging for mercy with a hidden knife. But Ziqing sneered in her heart, from the competition to this, her essence has not changed. Meng Yao, asking for peace. Your elites are still wandering on the edge, and the intelligence says that you want to steal the crystal to counterattack. Come on, prove your sincerity in a duel. If you lose, you will surrender completely. If you win, I will let you go. All channels in the server exploded in an instant, with players talking like crazy. Qingkong challenges Meng Yao elites alone? Bullshit. This is a duel of overlords. The main city arena was brightly lit, with crowds of people, and the smell of sweat in the air was mixed with excited gasps. Meng Yao's elite team, 5 top players, Assassin Ruying, Tank Russian, Mage Ice and Fire, Archer Rain of Arrows, and Nanny Sustain, filed into the arena. She projected a sneer. Single challenge. Okay, elites. Qingkong, no matter how powerful you are, you can't stop the team. Sun Yu whispered from the side, Boss, be careful, they have a linkage formation. The bell of the arena rang, and Ziqing entered the arena alone. Her divine power surged lightly, and her figure was like the wind. The assassin flashed invisibly, and the cold light of the dagger pierced the back of the heart. The tank shield hit and the ground trembled. The mage's ice and fireballs poured down like a torrential rain. Ziqing's heart sank. This is a test. From personal battle to leadership, she has to prove the confidence of the alliance. The time and space jump was activated, and the space was distorted. She teleported into the formation, and the time was slowed down, making the enemy's movements look like a quagmire. The thunder dragon flame bursts out, the purple-red electric fire wraps around like a divine dragon, locking the entire team, burning ice shields, and arc jumping through armor. The HP of the 5 people dropped wildly, the assassin fell to the ground wailing, the tank's shield was shattered into pieces, the archer's arrows were evaporated by the sea of fire, and the nanny's halo was torn apart by the thunder net. The mage finally counterattacked, the ice dragon roared, but Ziqing's iron wall did not move. He struck out with a fusion divine fist, wrapped in the power of time and space, and defeated him like the space collapsed. The system flashes continuously, all destroyed. The whole server cheered, one ride is worth 1,000. The clear sky is invincible. Meng Yao's projection collapsed and her voice was desperate, I lost. Join the alliance. Dan Ziqing shook her head, failed to seek peace, your ambition will harm the team. Get out and stop getting in the way. Meng Yao left the field in despair, the elite mark shattered, and the players heatedly discussed, Overlord style. Clear skies show no mercy. Sun Yu rushed to the stage, hugged her and spun around, boss, it's so cool. This battle made the alliance famous. Now, the cross-border alliance, I contacted individual people around the world, European, American and Asian players responded, a total of 200 people. Intelligence shows that the crystal auction has begun. The auction house hall was like a doomsday bazaar, with a sea of people, crystal lamps swaying with red light, and the scent of ink in the air mixed with the stench of panic and sweat. On the giant screen, the virtual and real fusion crystal shines, the starting bid is 20,000 gold, and there are 30 minutes left. Sun Yu whispered, the remnants of Meng Yao want to grab it, but the global alliance has gathered 50,000 yuan. We are outsmarting each other, Xiaohu spreads false news, there are traps in the crystal, and the developers will hesitate. Ziqing nodded and operated the panel, Sun Yu, your information is the key. Thanks, buddy, from the novice area to here, I can't make it without you. Sun Yu blushed and patted her shoulder, boss, stop talking about the warm words. Increase the price, come on. The bidding exploded like gunpowder, and the individual alliance IDs surged, increasing to 30,000, European and American players followed suit, and the price soared to 45,000. The developer's projection faintly interfered, and the ID, system guard, was increased to 50,000, but Sun Yu's intelligence popped up, the insider was exposed, and their funds were cut off. Ziqing went all in, 55,000. The system bell rang, deal done. Crystal light pours into the team panel, and skills are strengthened, divine power fusion crystals, fire and thunder like nuclear explosions, infinite time and space, and healing like divine grace. All team panels lit up, and Lao Niu roared, it's been strengthened. Boss, we are invincible. After exiting the game, Ziqing felt power surge like a tide, and the strengthening of her divine power made her feel like a god. In reality, a global crisis breaks out, fissures in the outer ring of Shanghai form rivers, and legions of monsters surge out like a black tide, a sea of goblins, a pack of shadow wolves, a stone demon fortress, destroying buildings and cutting off roads, screaming blood and mixed with exhaust fumes, and the ground shakes like an earthquake. Live news broadcast, the end is coming. The global city has fallen. Ziqing rushed out, teleporting to the city center with a strong wind, and the dragon flame divine fire exploded, the intensifying sea of fire was like the sun falling, burning thousands of monsters, and the heat waves steamed the green mist, the lightning grid locked the legions, and the purple light chained all things, twitching and flying, healing the wounded around the world with light, through the fusion of reality and reality, healing fractures and blood injuries from a distance. The source of the rift was exposed. She jumped across it and smashed the core with a punch of divine power. The space collapsed, the tide of monsters receded, and the city lights turned on again. The global live broadcast was buzzing, Goddess clear sky. The seal is successful and the crisis is resolved. Sun Yu's voice sounded, boss, awesome. The rift in Europe has also eased. Your strengthening can save the world. Ziqing gasped and fell to the ground, with a sudden change in her heart. In the past, she only wanted personal freedom and to get rid of the shackles of poverty. Now, the leader's mission is on her shoulders, and protecting this chaotic world is true freedom. The team channel was lively, and Sun Yu said warmly, "Boss, are you tired? Let's face it, I'll invite you to a barbecue on the street, the black market debt has been paid off, let's celebrate." She smiled, "Okay, buddy, let's carry it together." In the game, the team reunites at the core of the abyss, and the final wave of the bug army attacks. Tens of thousands of monsters are like black clouds, and the developer boss, Lord of Virtual and Reality, appears, a giant mechanical beast with a green crystal heart pulsating and a roar that shakes the sky. The air is rotten and pungent, and the ground is cracked with green abyss. Sun Yu Intelligence Navigation, boss, the weakness is in the heart. Advance layer by layer. Lao Niu is in front, Xiao Wei is in the middle, Xiao Lei and I are on the flanks, and Xiao Hu is scouting the road. Ziqing nodded, with full power, up. One ride can defeat 1,000, show your dominance. The battle progressed step by step. On the first level, a sea of monsters rushed towards him. Ziqing teleported into the formation, the reinforced lightning grid exploded, locking thousands of them. The purple light was like a sky net, the monsters twitched and collapsed. The team followed up. Sun Yu's sword light was like a dragon and killed the single ones. Lao Niu's shield broke the path, and Kwangmei Zihua assisted burning Bian. On the second floor, the stone demon fortress presses forward. Her dragon flame divine fire summons a giant dragon, and the sky-burning heat wave melts the rocks. The fortress melts like wax. Xiao Wei heals the light stable team, and their HP is as iron. The small rain of thunder and arrows suppressed the wolves in the air, and the little fox became invisible and broke through the formation. On the third floor, the boss arrived in person, with mechanical claws hitting the ground, gravel raining down, and electromagnetic pulses choking his nose. Ziqing jumped in time and space and appeared behind him. The iron wall blocked the huge blow, making a dull sound like thunder. The fused divine fist wrapped in fire and thunder hit his heart, and the cracks in the green crystal expanded. The boss counterattacked, and the green mist was wrapped in its tentacles, which hurt like thousands of needles, but she was determined in her heart. The mission is on her shoulders, and freedom is for the public. A final explosion, divine power like a starburst, space and time collapsed, the boss wailed and shattered, and the entire legion was destroyed. System announcement for all servers, the bug army is defeated. The master of virtuality and reality has fallen, and the developer's conspiracy has been shattered. Clear Sky Alliance, an eternal legend. The team high-fived, and Sun Yu hugged her. "Boss, from good friends to comrades, we will shoulder this mission together." Ziqing nodded, with warmth in her eyes. She has grown up, from self-preservation to protection, this is her path. In the distance, the remaining cracks murmured, and the deep shadow of the developer loomed, but the team was as strong as iron, and although the road ahead was dangerous, she was not afraid. When Ziqing stood up from the wreckage at the core of the abyss, the green mist around her was still slowly dissipating, like the tail of a nightmare, sticky and stubborn. The metal fragments of the Lord of Void and Reality were scattered on the ground, making a low hum, and the air was filled with the pungent smell of burnt circuits and rotten green crystals. The team members gasped and gathered around. Lao Niu's shield was full of cracks. He wiped his sweat and laughed harshly. "Boss, the burst of power from this punch is like hitting a nuclear bomb. All the monster legions have been wiped out. It's so satisfying." Sun Yu held on to the hilt of the sword, his face stained with blood, but grinned. "Yes, but the system announced that the conspiracy was broken. Those bastards from the developer won't just give up like that, right?" Ziqing took a deep breath. The aftertaste of the awakening of divine power was still tumbling in her body, and every cell seemed to be connected in series by an invisible electric current, powerful but heavy. She looked deeper into the abyss, and saw a faint red light pulsating, like the whisper of her heart. A hidden prompt popped up on the panel. The source of the core bug has not been eliminated, the developer's ultimate laboratory, the door to the fusion of reality and reality. Destroying it permanently seals the invasion. My heart tightened. From her personal counterattack to this point, she was no longer the girl who just wanted to get rid of poverty, but a leader who took up the world. Sun Yu, the source is still there. The deep laboratory, the fortress of developers. Let's go straight to Huanglong, and the whole team will follow. She shouted, her voice firm as iron. The team nodded, and Xiao Wei's staff flashed with green light. Sister, I'm full of milk, I promise not to drop the chain. Xiaolei pulled the bow to test the string, the crazy girl clenched her fists, and Xiaohu became invisible and explored the way. Boss, the intelligence shows that Menyao's remnants are ambushing at the door. She has no intention of giving up. I want to use the knife to kill people and attract a wave of monsters to counterattack. Ziqing clenched her fists and said, come here. The remaining resources from the previous auction, the virtual and real crystal fragments, I have transformed them into the ultimate weapon, Fusion Blade, now use it. The abyss passage is narrow and eerie, the walls pulsating like living things, and the green light reflects twisted shadows. Halfway through the team's stealth, the air suddenly became stagnant, and Mengyao's laughter echoed like a ghost. Little god Qingkong, congratulations on destroying my guild. But the source? Ha, the remnants of the party and I have already laid an ambush. The developer gave me the last gift, the bug amplifier, and the monster wave is coming. The passage ahead collapsed, and more than 30 Mengyao elites rushed out like a pack of wolves, assassins' daggers cold light, mages intertwined with fire and ice, and tank shields pressed up. Behind them, hundreds of monsters emerged from the green mist. Goblins screamed, shadow wolves roared, and stone demons smashed their giant fists on the ground, with gravel flying like rain. Counterattack. Sun Yu, cover the flanks. Ziqing shouted, activating her divine power, and the fusion blade condensed from the palm of her hand. The crystal fragments turned into a silver-blue sword, and the blade shone with a light that intertwined reality and reality, able to cut the boundary between reality and games. Sun Yu's sword was like a dragon, withstanding the charge of the tank, and the iron shield collided with a muffled sound. Boss, come on. Let's stop the remnants. He killed 2 assassins with one sword, blood mist sprayed, and the hot-blooded shouts echoed in the channel. Alliance iron-blooded, kill. The battle situation instantly became white-hot. Meng Yao sang it herself, the ice and fire tornado swept through like a hurricane, the cold and heat intertwined and burned the skin. Ziqing flashed into the formation with a blast of time and space, waving the fusion blade. The sword light tore through the space, cutting off the ice dragon's tail with one slash, and the fire rain burned out like paper. The second slash locked Mengyao's guard. Thunder and lightning dragon flames erupted from the blade. Purple-red electric fire chains locked 10 people. The monster and the elite twitched and fell to the ground at the same time, and the smell of burnt smell hit their nostrils. Meng Yao screamed, impossible. How could you? Ziqing sneered, your ambition is over. He followed up invisibly and sprinkled a healing light on the team. The wounds healed like new. Sun Yu's HP was full. He took advantage of the situation and stabbed Meng Yao in the side with his sword. Boss, chance. Meng Yao dodges and activates the amplifier. The wave of monsters rush towards her like crazy, their claws scratching the ground, and the green mist fills the air like poisonous mist. Ziqing's full skill combination is activated. The iron wall shield rises, like an immortal city wall blocking the stone demon's giant fist, and the vibration is transmitted to the arm without any damage. The time and space deceleration makes the enemy's movements slow down. She teleports behind, and the fusion blade goes straight into the core of the amplifier, the fusion of reality and game. The blade penetrates reality and reality, crystals shatter like glass, the monster wave stiffens and collapses, and the green mist evaporates. Meng Yao's remnant army was shattered, the elites fled in all directions, and her projection collapsed. Lost completely. Sun Yu sealed her shadow with a sword. Get out. Stop being an eyesore. The crisis was resolved, and the team gasped and moved forward. At the end of the passage was the developer's laboratory. The metal door was like the mouth of a giant beast, red light pulsated, and the electromagnetic hum in the air was mixed with low mechanical words. Intruder, the ultimate guard is activated. The door opened, and the system guardian appeared, a 100-meter-high mechanical statue, with limbs like steel vines, a red crystal heart on the chest flashing, eyes scanning red light like lasers, and the roar shook the ground. Challenge it alone. The team retreats and covers me. Ziqing shouted, her heart filled with passion for a peak showdown. From being a weakling to this moment, she wanted to end the conspiracy with her own hands. The Guardian's giant arm smashed down, and the air tore like thunder. Ziqing jumped in time and space to get out of the way. A deep pit was created on the ground, and rubble was scattered like shrapnel. The red light scan locked. She was invisible and sneaking, charging up the fusion blade. With full divine power, the blade was intertwined with fire and thunder, and the dragon flames were summoned to wrap around the sword body, roaring like a divine beast. The Guardian counterattacked, the vines whipped out like whips, the electromagnetic pulse choked her nose and burned her lungs. She was blocked by the iron wall, the shield light was immortal, and the muffled sound was like a landslide. Sun Yu shouted from behind, "Boss, weak chest. We attract firepower." The team worked together. Lao Nyo's shield hit the vines, Xiao Lei's arrows hit his eyes, Xiao Wei's healing light stabilized, Mad Girl's fireball assisted, and Xiao Fox's stealth broke the edge crystal. Ziqing seized the opportunity and teleported to her chest with the blast of time and space. Time slowed down and made the Guardian move like a turtle crawling. She jumped up and pierced the red crystal with the fusion blade, the reality of the game. The sword light tore the boundary between reality and reality, the fire and thunder dragon flames exploded inside, and the cracks in the crystal expanded like a spider web. The Guardian roared, flashing red light, and slapped down with a huge backhand palm, but her lightning grid locked the joints, and the purple light chain locked the stiff limbs. The healing light protected herself, and her HP was as stable as a rock. The inner monologue is like flash, this is not a fun point, but a mission. Strength is peace, not conquest. The final blow, the divine fist-wrapped blade smashed into the core, the space collapsed, the red crystal exploded like falling stars, the Guardian collapsed, mechanical fragments rained down, and the system announced to the whole server, the source of the ultimate bug is destroyed. The invasion of reality and reality is permanently sealed, and the world is reborn. Before the aftermath was over, the laboratory collapsed, green mist poured out, and remaining monsters emerged from the cracks. The team worked together to resolve the situation. Sun Yu's sword array cleared the border, Xiao Wei's aura protected everyone, Lao Nyo withstood the falling rocks, Ziqing's divine power swept away, the fusion blade waved, and the sea of fire and thunder net destroyed the last threat. The collapse stopped, and they gasped and escaped from the abyss. In reality, the night sky in Shanghai was clear, the cracks were all closed, and passers-by cheered, "Heroes! The monster is gone." Global news broadcast, the crisis is resolved, and the bug era is over. Ziqing took off her helmet, the lights in the rental house were warm, and Sun Yu's voice sounded, "Boss, see you in real life? I'll invite you to the barbecue stall. From the novice area to the Guardian world, we will be on this journey together." She smiled, and her eyes showed the calmness of complete transformation. Strength brings peace. From the shackles of poverty to the watch of freedom, she finally found her home. Outside the window, the city lights are like stars. There is no danger ahead, only new life. When Ziqing climbed out of the abyss, the rocks under her feet were still trembling slightly, like the earth sighing for the last time. The green mist dissipated like an ebbing tide, leaving the smell of electromagnetic burn and the clang of broken metal lingering in the air. The team members caught up with them panting heavily. Sun Yu's sword blade was still stained with green crystal fragments. He patted Ziqing on the shoulder, his voice hoarse but passionate, "Boss, you destroyed that thing, and the world feels lighter." The system announced that the invasion has been sealed, but the cracks in reality are still opening, and the tide of monsters is not over. Ziqing nodded, her divine power surged like a warm current in her body, and every pore felt the boundary between reality and reality blurring. The wind of the game blew through the skin of reality, and the siren of the distant city echoed like the BGM of the game. She took off her helmet. The lights in the rental house were dim. The Shanghai night sky outside the window should have been clear, but there was a faint pulsation of green light. The cracks between high-rise buildings opened like wounds, and monster remnants sprang out, groups of goblins brandished daggers and pounced on roadside vendors, shadow wolves roared and bit into car tires, the giant fists of stone demons smashed the asphalt road, gravel flew like rain, and the choking smell of blood mixed with exhaust fumes in the air made people panic. News feeds around the world pop up like crazy: the fall of Times Square in New York, the sea of monsters in Tokyo's Shibuya, the collapse of European castles, the last wave, the legacy of developers. Can't wait any longer. Ziqing murmured, put on her helmet, and realized the boundary between the teleportation game and reality. The awakening of her divine power made her cross-border as usual. She activated the fusion blade, the silver-blue sword light tore open the virtual and real door, and teleported to the outer ring of Shanghai. The wind whistled from my ears, and when I stepped on the ground, a wave of monsters came like a black cloud. Thousands of them pounced on me, and the harsh sound of claws scraping the ground mixed with the screams of passers-by. Ziqing took a deep breath, and the heat of mission surged in her heart. In the past, she was the girl who was overwhelmed by life. Now, she is the Watcher. Come on, annihilate them all. With all her power activated, the time jump brought her into the teleportation formation. Time deceleration made the monsters move like slow motion, the goblin's dagger froze in midair, and the shadow wolf's leap turned into a clumsy glide. She waved the fusion blade, and thunder dragon flames erupted from the blade. Purple-red electric fire rolled around like a divine tornado, locking on thousands of monsters, burning green skins, arc chains jumping, and the smell of burnt smell assaulted her nostrils. The giant fist of the stone demon smashed down, and her iron wall shield rose. The immortal gray light blocked the tremors. After a dull sound like thunder, she turned invisible and pierced the core of the crack with a sword. The power of the fusion of reality and reality poured in. The green light shattered like broken glass, the monster wave twitched and flew away, and the crack healed like a wound. The light of healing shines from the palm of your hand and spreads far across the world. The fractures of the injured in New York fade away, the blood of passers-by in Tokyo stops, and the collapsed ancient walls in Europe are slowly repaired. System mind prompt, global bug fixes, stable integration of virtual and real. The invasion ends and a new era begins. Passers-by climbed up from the ruins and gathered around to cheer, Goddess. The monster is gone. The city is saved. Mobile phone push notifications exploded. Clear Sky Overlord was hotly searched across the internet, and reputation came flooding in. Ziqing gasped and landed, feeling that the shackles of poverty were completely shattered, a pop-up notification of her bank balance, and a real reward from the Alliance's resources, which was enough for her to buy the old rental house and change it to a spacious home. Freedom is not a pile of money, but the calmness of controlling your destiny. She smiled, and the satisfaction in her heart was as sweet as honey. Her dream came true. From being a weakling to this step, it was worth it. Returning to the game, the main city square is as lively as a festival. Players are high-fiving around the fountain. The smell of barbecue and fireworks is intertwined in the air. The boots of NPC guards step on the stone slabs, making a rhythmic thump. Sun Yu rushed up with his team, and Lao Niu yelled, "Boss, the magic power has successfully solved it." In reality, I watched the news, and you wiped out the tide with one sword, so awesome. Xiao Wei burst into tears and hugged her. Sister, thank you for bringing us here. From individual to legend, we share this glory. Xiao Lei drew his bow and gestured, yes. The alliance will last forever, protect the world. The crazy girl blinked and smiled. Boss, see you at the barbecue stall. Celebrating in real life, I'll buy you a drink. Ziqing patted them on the shoulders, as warm as a family member. Brothers, we have carried it all together, the glory belongs to everyone. The virtual and the real merge, the game is no longer an escape, but a new life. Skills help reality, and reality feeds back the game. We form a sustainable alliance, do not monopolize, share resources, and protect the world. Yu nodded, his eyes shining. What a great idea. Individuals around the world have responded, and players from Europe, America, and Asia have gathered 500 people. The last public bidding, auction of all server resources, the treasure trove left by the developer, rare equipment, skill upgrade crystals, all open. Meng Yao sighed. She sent a private message, admitting defeat and asking to join. As soon as the words fell, there was a commotion at the edge of the square, and Meng Yao appeared. Her robe was shabby and her face was pale, but she was no longer as charming and arrogant as before. She approached, her voice low and hoarse. Qingkong. Ziqing, I lost. The guild broke up, and my ambition destroyed me. Let me join the alliance. I will bring intelligence and resources to the remnants of the party, and atone for my sins. There was a buzz of discussion among the players around, and someone shouted, the witch surrenders. Qingkong, will you spare her? Ziqing stared at her, and her heart changed like a tide. From the enemy to this, resolving grievances is the only way to grow. She stretched out her hand. Meng Yao, the fight in the past is enough. Join, but remember, the alliance is about freedom, not a power game. Let's protect it together. Meng Yao held her hand, with tears shining. Thank you. I will prove it. All the channels in the server were flooded with, the grudge is settled. Qingkong is generous, the legend of the alliance. The team cheered, and Sun Yu patted Meng Yao on the back. Welcome, new girl. From opponent to comrade, it's great. The auction house hall is like the center of the universe, with crowds of people, crystal chandeliers shining starlight, and the scent of ink mixed with the smell of excited sweat in the air. Giant screens scrolling resources across the server, S-level equipment piles, ultimate crystals, fusion artifacts, starting bid total of 100,000 gold, open bidding, no upper limit. Players from all over the world pooled their funds, European and American IDs jumped up, and the prices soared like a rocket, 200,000, 300,000. Challengers emerged, and a European guild claiming to be global overlord raised the price to 500,000. They mocked the channel, clear sky. Sanran Alliance, get lost. The resources are ours. Meng Yao whispered, that is an old enemy, and the funds are bottomless. Ziqing smiled, her divine power surged, and the panel funds were like an avalanche, global reputation converted into rewards, and the alliance shared resources totaling millions. She issued a declaration to the whole server, challenge. Come on. The alliance does not have a monopoly, but it will never give in. Share resources and protect the world. The operation panel increased to 1.2 million. The hall was boiling, and the players cheered, crush. Clear sky overlord. The European guild counterattacked with 1.5 million, but Sun Yu's intelligence popped up, their black market loan is out of stock. Ziqing followed up with 1.8 million, Meng Yao assisted in the transfer, and the team worked together to reach 2 million. The challenger collapsed, and the channel begged for mercy, stop. The resources are for you. The system ringtone was deafening, deal. All server resources belong to the alliance. Resources poured into the board, artifacts were distributed to the team, and equipment upgrades came in waves. Sun Yu laughed, boss, openly crush, all servers are served. The legend will last forever, we are the cross-border overlord. Meng Yao nodded, from the enemy to this, I serve. Ziqing divided the resources, players around the world shared crystals, the virtual and real were stable, and a new life opened, players used skills to build homes, real cities were rebuilt like game copies, poverty disappeared, and peace came. Late at night, Ziqing took off her helmet and opened the door. The lights of the street barbecue stall were warm and yellow. Sun Yu and Xiaowei had gathered around the table. The meat skewers were sizzling and the beer was foaming. Sun Yu handed over the string, boss, sit down. From picking up books in the novice area to protecting the world, this journey is worth it. Ziqing sat down and took a bite of the hot mutton. The spicy chili went into her throat and warmed her heart. She looked at the night sky, where the city lights were like stars and the shadows of monsters were gone forever. From that ordinary girl who worked overtime until late at night, to a cross-border overlord, she looks back on her growth. Every bid is a battle of wits, every battle is transformation, the shackles of poverty are broken, and freedom is like the wind. Amid the laughter of the team, her heart was filled with contentment and peace. She had protected this world.